everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of Dude Talk. I am your host, Alien Joyful, or Marie. I am joined today by my editor-in-chief, Shiny.
Greetings, back for another one. Guess I didn't get tired of these people.
The bestest boy, Iconic.
I gotta stop that. I'm iconic. I stream usually mediocre games that nobody remembers. And hype man, cheerleader, unprofessional.
My queen of chaos, Mewmoonstar.
Hello, I'm here to draw shit and force you to buy things, I guess.
And my bird brother, Galleon, or Cord.
Hey there, I am here to talk about them funny video games. Tell me about them. We can discuss them hours on end, I promise. I'm interesting.
So, video game peripherals.
Interesting!
He's very interesting. He's the cutest. And also he's going to be leading most of the conversation today because he actually knows about the topic that we've decided to start this off with, which is video game peripherals, aka virtual reality, controllers, apparently whatever the fuck Nintendo's up to like 90% of the time, Amiibos, toys in general. Do movies count for this topic? I don't fucking know.
No.
What about video game books? Those count?
Yes.
I don't...
Kind
is
of.
that a peripheral? I'm gonna look up the definition of peripheral real quick.
I'm pretty sure peripheral has to be like an adjacent thing, so no. Technically no, but we can talk about whatever. Like, again, the whole point of the format of these is we just talk about whatever. We go off on really, really, really long tangents about stuff that
Okay, but now I am actually curious what the definition of peripheral is.
Ooh. Boo, Oxford Dictionary, you're not supposed to use the word in the definition! Relating to or situated in the on the edge of periphery of something. Use the word periphery to define peripheral. Fuck you.
sick.
Nice. Anyway, full disclosure, I don't fucking own video game peripherals. The closest I've come to potentially owning video game peripherals is my mom owns... I think my brother bought her, like, the Halo books. Try and get her into video games.
I'm going to blow your mind. You own several DSs,
Okay.
and the stylus
Do
is a
those
video
count?
game peripheral.
Do those count, though? I just consider that a handheld console.
Yeah, but the stylus is like for a drawing tablet,
the stylus
basically.
comes with the DS. That doesn't
Technically, yes.
count.
Actually, it does. Just like how Wiimote, for the most part, any controller really is not technically the console itself. Again, this
That's
topic
correct,
is like
especially
much.
since they sold so many styluses with different themes and junk.
Oh God,
I
you're
have
right.
several, we have an official Luigi one. I think they would release figures with just a little nubbin appendage that would, air quotes, function as a stylus, and those were peripherals.
Yeah.
I hate the tiny styluses, for the record. I hate them. They're so easy to lose. They kind of jab into your finger. I ended up getting like a big, fat, chunky one.
God, speaking of styluses, that reminds me. I think it was Guitar Hero had like a DS like attachment thing. You like slotted into the GBA slot, and it had like a couple like buttons, so you could basically do with a fucking guitar bullshit with just your
Yeah.
DS.
Fun fact, I played that one.
I did too.
It's actually,
Really?
it works.
It's pretty good.
It came with like a DS like stylus like guitar pick.
God, speaking
I
of
only ever saw
DSs, how many
images.
DSs have you guys like gone through? Because I know I was like fucking kid when like I had one, so I scratched the hell out of that bottom screen.
Really? I treated mine, because, full disclosure, broke farm girl here. I treated all mine like precious little artifacts. So I own a DS Lite, like a white one, and then I own a 2DS, and then I own a Mario Kart Special Edition 3DS. And all of them have been treated very carefully, very gently. They're still in top quality condition. I still have all my little GBA games with their cases. The bottom screen of the DS Lite at this point, after years, is scratched up, but it got babied. It got babied to hell.
But you don't understand the absolute horror that is Pokemon Ranger Shadows of Almia.
I did own a Pokemon Rangers Game though, so I do know.
And our DSs are still in good condition as well. So get fucked.
Yeah, it's just you. You're just the bad one here,
I mean,
scratching your bottom
just
DS.
bad.
To be
Like
fair,
bad with
animal.
to be fair, in my defense, y'all have American product. I don't know. Maybe my screen was shit.
Also, the one game
I
that I
don't know.
played, Harvest Moon, you could pet the cows on the bottom screen, and if like you didn't have to, you could just do like basic bitch farming. But if you did the mini game to pet the animals, you would destroy your screen because reasons. And I still did it.
But
I polished my gym badges in diamond all the time. That's
Oh
what I
god,
did.
yeah.
as a broke motherfucker, I've had the same DS that I had since I was the DSi since I've had as a child. I got it exactly on Christmas Day 2012, and it's currently 2022, and I still have it. Outside of just a bit of dust on it, it seems fine.
Nice.
So
And
yeah,
the DSi
Shiny,
at least is
Uh,
the good one,
you-
unlike the original.
you need to treat your DS better, Shiny.
It's
I wanna
one
give my
DS I had when I
qualifications.
was like young as hell. My 3DS is perfectly functioning.
Because you don't
We
play
have
any games
a-
on it.
I did. I've like completed several fairly long games on my DS.
Fine. I've seen your Pokemon Moon. I've seen what you've done.
I don't know, you don't play that game.
You-
You play that
Seen her
game
run.
until like the fourth or fifth trial, and then you leave.
And then you're done.
You're done.
Great game.
You
never
won.
never pick it up again. Anyway.
You did it.
And then
had a
you
couple
ignore
of
all Pokemon
DSs.
content until Arceus.
I mean, I think
Classic.
really when it came to like Pokemon Moon, it was just a matter of like I couldn't deal with Lily saying Nebby for the fucking 50th goddamn time. I was done. Get in the back, you stupid thing.
Oh god. At that point, I was also just kind of done with the Pokemon formula. It felt way too repetitive to me, and I was kind of like, I'm just not that into it, which is why Arceus was so refreshing and nice.
Let's not tread similar
I
ground.
know.
Please.
Let's not do this again. Stop me now. Anyway.
Well, I mean-
My qualifications, you didn't let me. We have a silver DS Lite, a white DSi that was gifted to me when that came out because it seemed different enough. Spoiler alert, it wasn't different enough. And a blue 3DS XL.
No, I didn't have it, but Pokemon is on topic if you talk about the Pokewalker.
Yes, that is
I-
absolutely one of them. Yep.
I
I
did
had one of
have
those
a
too, yeah.
Pokewalker, and
My brother and I
I
shared
had one.
buying Heart Gold, so
I
we
didn't know
have
how
one.
to fucking use
I don't think it functions anymore.
I had one. It ended up in the wash, and that was it.
Okay, one. Okay. What about the weird thing? Because the Pokewalker was I remember I was very confused because I had a Pokewalker, I never used it. It just sat there forever. And then Pokemon Go came out and it got like some kind of weird attachment that people bought that was basically just the Pokewalker 2.
A little Pokeball thing.
Yeah, and that was really easily breakable and just garbage. I know because my mom bought one because she ended up really liking Pokemon Go, and I was like, this is just trash. And it easily broke. Yes.
It's even weirder when you remember that the original Pokewalker was one of the best pedometers on the market at the time.
It was.
I was just about to
So
say
weird.
that. It is surprisingly the most accurate pedometer. I was going to say that's actually something I was going to bring up. It's hilarious. I love that so much.
Also, I wanted to say, in terms of DSs that I had a Zelda-themed DS Lite. That was my first one. Eventually traded that in for like 3DS. No, not not a 3DS. Probably a DS XL at some point. I don't remember. I feel like I did. Actually, no. It was the DSi that I ended up getting. That's what happened. And then I got a DSi XL, which they were all basic in nature. I think I had the Mario Kart one too, actually. So
I mean, the Mario
That's
Kart
fun.
one was just a good deal. And Mario Kart was such a fucking great game because it was like one of those games that's like, hey, you want to play with your friends? Yeah, they'll all be shy guys, which, by the way, best character in Mario Kart. Fucking don't at me.
too bad I sucked at Mario Kart back then. More
I still
CTR
suck at
man
Mario
now.
Kart today, but I'll play it. Because it's fun.
Yeah.
So I love how we all just decided this is a perfect time to share our DSs and what colors and stuff they are.
Yeah, Zelda theme. That one's gold, yellow, whatever. I had a blue DSi, and after that got the blue 3DS, and I eventually gave that one away because I ended up getting the Persona Q 3DS XL. That
Okay,
shit
damn it.
is so cool. Like straight up, I love that one. It eventually the camera functionality broke on it.
Ah,
I don't know
Ah.
how, but it did. And also, for some reason, it ran super slow and shitty at some
holy
point.
shit, can we consider
And
the entire fucking original DS a peripheral? Because, like, the fucking blowing bullshit?
oh yeah,
Oh, that was
technically, probably.
revolutionary at the time.
I, I would say
One of my
I
Stupid
would
Harvest
say
Moon games had a thing where you had to blow on the screen / the mic to make windmills turn faster, and I was like, why is this a thing? So I can't go back to ever playing that game because I would just be blowing at my screen like a crazy person.
It was also the first console with a built-in microphone.
Was
That's
it?
insane.
Oh.
What the
Well,
fuck is that DS? Jesus Christ. Now that I think about it.
Why did they have a built-in microphone? What
It
the
was
point
like
of
a
that?
Swiss Army knife for video games.
Yeah.
No, wait. You're right. It did have a built-in mic. I was gonna say it wasn't the first thing that had a mic in general, but
No,
yeah,
it's
it
the
was
first thing with a
built-in mic.
built-in mic. In fact, I don't think any console has ever had a built-in mic since.
No, wait. Famicom.
Built-in.
Oh,
yeah.
no, that was a
Famicom was built
an
into
attachment,
the.
wasn't it?
That was built into the Player One controller, which I believe is hardwired into the console.
Ah,
Give me a
okay,
second.
fair enough. Yeah, okay. Okay, so Nintendo's just always been on it.
But
Nintendo's
why
old.
though? Why do they need a mic?
Well,
Explain that one to me.
For Nintendogs.
Hey, you Pikachu.
Hey, you Pikachu.
Never owned Nintendogs. Don't insult me like this.
Dude, Nintendogs is great.
Watched a cousin play that game, and I was like,
The best
cool.
assist.
I'm so glad you're having fun because I
Oh, no, I
can't
mean,
see
if
the
it wasn't
appeal.
clear already, this is effectively just the, hey, let's talk about Nintendo's weird fucking history throughout the last, like, since they fucking...
You mean like their
were
little
made.
controller that has a penis? The weird,
No.
The
We
weird
don't know.
three-leg
No,
controller.
we don't talk about the 64 controller. That's not...
I never fucking
Don't
understood
talk
that
about
thing.
the Nintendo 64 controller or its third leg. We don't need to talk about it.
It looks like a fucking stupid spaceship.
I've explained it before. Like, that whole thing is like a flight stick. That's the idea. Made to play Star Fox 64 and nothing else.
Remember when Nintendo sort of created the selfie with the weird Game Boy camera?
Yes.
Dude,
Yeah.
that is, for a while, it was the only camera I had.
That thing technically had filters. It encouraged you to take pictures of yourself.
It did. Listen, and you could use those pictures in other ways. I'm pretty sure I found a way to upload them so I could use them on my Facebook because we just didn't have cameras at the time. So I used it as a camera.
Also,
100%.
I'm about to blow your all's fucking mind on how wide this goddamn topic is. A fucking link cable.
I mean, I guess, yeah.
Like, what a...
Enough. I have no experience with any sort of link cable.
What a wild
too.
goddamn idea. Because it was like at the time when the internet kind of wasn't really widely adopted. And so it was just a way to fucking connect two devices. And it's just weird. Like, such a weird little thing that's
Let's
like...
just acknowledge that what this topic is really getting to the root of is Nintendo has always wanted people to get the fuck out of their houses and make friends.
Pretty much.
Because the more we're talking, the more I'm like, this is really just Nintendo being like, leave your fucking house
newer
and
Nintendo.
do things.
Because, like, Rob and the fucking, like, Power Glove, none of that shit is making you friends.
What are you talking about? If you had a Power Glove, I'm sure you were the coolest guy on the block.
Probably.
Thing about Nintendo is that they've always been
so
like a
bad.
toy. They've always been like a toy company first, and that's sort of the general mindset that they've had.
I disagree.
I mean, have you looked at their history? They freaking made playing cards and shit, and they made legit toys.
Yeah, obviously,
and they
but, like...
and they consider the NES like a toy versus just whatever the hell the
Perhaps from
80s
the
was thinking
business
of what a
side, but,
video
like,
game was.
freaking Miyamoto and, like, everybody, like, there are game developers first and foremost, for the most part. Like, they've always been like that. That's kind of what is good about the company, is that they're not like Sony, who is like a fucking movie producer, or like Microsoft, who, well, let's be honest, they're a PC developer.
Mhm.
Like, they make OSs, they make you update Windows 10 every couple of months.
And then they're like, look, Windows 11, and everyone collectively goes, yeah, not the fuck happening until you force me.
Basically.
And so it's like, while I agree, yes, Nintendo is like a toy developer in a sense. They are very much a video game developer. They always kind of have been, but they've had some fucking genius goddamn ideas. Like, they are definitely like on top of the here's a weird extra thing we can charge you for.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of story time with my experience with Amiibos, because I am mad and I will never not be angry about it. So, as I have previously disclosed, I am broke farm girl, which means that Amiibos were always ridiculously like expensive, especially during the height of the Amiibo craze when people decided to just start fucking robbing Amiibo transport trucks because they're insane. And every single time I went to the store, I would, for some reason, possibly just to torment myself, go and find the inevitable little thing of Amiibos. And every single time, it was just Yoshi and Wario. That was all that was available. I don't know why Yoshi and Wario, but it was Yoshi and it was Wario. And every other Amiibo was sold out and or just straight up stolen. Like, sometimes there would be boxes and you'd grab them and they'd be empty and there would be no Amiibo in there. And it'd be like, wonderful. Anyway, I was just kind of like, okay, it'll never concern me. I will never get Amiibos. But eventually the craze did die down, and Nintendo seemed to be sort of doing better with the being able to produce enough. Around this time, I got Happy Home Academy, designer thingy, whatever the hell, Animal Crossing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it was in my little video game thing, there was a weird fucking card of Mr. Big Bell Balls himself, Tom Nook, with like a thing. And I realized that this was Nintendo's solution to their Amiibo craze. Their solution was to, instead of accidentally causing another Amiibo craze with the release of Happy Home Designer, they released Amiibo cards that acted like Amiibos but are just shitty cardboard, and you have to buy a extra $80 scanner that attaches to your 3DS that you then scan either the Amiibo or the shitty Amiibo card to get that specific Animal Crossing village into your village.
Or you buy the new 3DS XL that has the scanner.
Yeah, that has the scanner built in. Except I wasn't going to buy an entire new thing, so my option was go to the store, buy an $80 scanner, and then I either had to scour the store for these shitty Amiibo cards, which, guess what? There was now a craze for those because people obviously wanted the rare villagers like Isabelle and whatever to be in their video game. So those things started to get robbed and got really crazy and also just weren't that available in my area of the world. And, or you had to try and buy an Amiibo, which, go figure, because people were buying up all the cards, people ended up going back to wanting to buy the Amiibos, which caused a second Amiibo craze in my specific region, which I think literally got on the news at one point for breaking out into a fist fight because, you know, my child wants Isabelle in their town, and how dare you, you teenage punk, also want Isabelle in your town to design a house.
The great family company Nintendo. Goddamn deities of just shorting their own goddamn stock of wares.
I thought you were going to call them deities of chaos because that's genuinely what it felt like. The entire Amiibo craze was just nuts.
And the Amiibo thing definitely shows like Nintendo is a company first and foremost. Much as they're a video game developer, they were a company, a business, because those things were specifically shorted intentionally. No way in hell,
artificial demand.
They would not know.
Or artificial scarcity.
Yeah, our super artificial scarcity on that. And I don't know why Nintendo is so happy about the secondary market, but they are.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Hey, Murray, quick question. The
Yes.
$80 peripheral for like the scanner. Was it $80 in Canada?
It was $80 fucking in Canada. At least in my specific
Jesus.
region. Because the thing is that because I'm from shitty farmland, I'm just going to call it Farmville, Canada, trademark, because that's all I'm comfortable disclosing of my original location, is, like, everything kind of became artificially inflated because we did not get the same, like, we did not get as much as other areas because there was just less demand, less everything. So everything got artificially inflated. So you'd go to those video game stores and we had literally, you had two options. It was either shitty mall video game store or near Walmart video game store, or you could go to like you could try your hand at either going to Walmart or Costco and trying to see if they had what you wanted. Chances are they wouldn't, because Walmart and Costco were basically just the land of Xbox and Xbox only. Sony did not exist where I'm from. I never really saw Sony games at all, ever. It was Xbox or it was Nintendo. That was it. So if you went to a video game retailer, all of their prices were just crazy high for things like Amiibos, for things like the Amiibo scanner, just all those little extras, controllers, peripherals in any way were marked up, I think, by like 10% or more. So that thing was $80 where I was from. There was no way I was buying it.
Yeah, because like in the US anyway, it was like $30 or $40 last time I remember anyway. Ooh,
Was it?
Jesus.
I remember it being more expensive, and that's why we didn't get it. My brother was interested in, oh god, there was was it Fire Emblem or was it some sort of Xenoblade thing that needed the scanner?
Both of them did,
Both of
actually.
them.
It might have been actually he would have been into the Xenoblade thing, but yeah, it was
Xenoblade
semi-tragic
specifically
because
needed
like
the
the
new
new
console to run.
3DS did not have enough features for us to justify buying it when we already owned a 3DS XL.
Yep.
And it was just a
Well, I
whole lot
mean,
of no.
not only would you need to
no.
buy a new 3DS, you need to buy a 3DS called New 3DS.
I mean, let's be honest, they're doing that with the Switch now. There's the Switch and then there's the new Switch with the better screen. I'm honestly just waiting for them to announce the new Switch with slightly bigger storage capacity or
No,
something.
the next Switch will be the new Switch, because the current existing Switch that's the new model is called like Switch OLED. It's literally just called what it is.
I am curious though, because like I said, where I was from, Farmville, Canada, there was only, like I said, Yoshi and Wario. So when the Amiibo craze was going on, I'm genuinely curious, what was it where you guys were? What were the few remnants, or was it just everything sold out?
Walls of Luigi.
Mario and maybe also Yoshi.
I can't quite remember what the stock situation in my area was, because living in the South and everything, and having the one game store and like a few electronic places, probably not allowed to go off of. But I do remember there was always like a specific shortages of certain amiibo that were always happening, like Ness and Marth, Palutena. There's some other ones too, but I can't put my finger on it. I just know that the Smash Brother ones were super popular. Uh, Animal Crossing was everywhere, no matter where I looked. Not the card specifically, but like the actual figures.
Do you not have the shitty like cardboard cards?
I mean, I did. I bought Happy Home Designer. I bought like a good chunk of cards because I actually enjoyed that game for the time that I had
It is a very good game.
before
It's
my
very
3DS
cute.
got stolen, and I rebought a new copy.
Like I said, it's
and
a
I had
very
to start
it's a cute
over,
game.
but I lost my interest in trying again.
It's a super cute game. I was just so disappointed because I did not understand. Like I understand why. It's a very smart gimmick to make money, having the whole idea of, hey, the special villagers, you have to like buy an extra thing to get them to go. That great. You have guaranteed that you will make money. But on the other hand, I do just find it incredibly disappointing that like content that in my opinion should just be as like a reward for, hey, you worked really hard, you got pretty far in this game, you clearly like it, here you go, just design a stupid home for Isabelle instead of buying a Isabelle to do it.
I'll be real, like, I love Nintendo's fucking games. God damn, is that like one of the most disgusting business moves ever. To fucking make like a feature of your game some RNG fucking card pack.
Yeah.
Like that is some major BS. That is.
Well,
I mean,
that's the reason I wanted to bring
it's
it
not
up.
as big a
Especially
collection
when
as
Animal
something
Crossing is very much like Pokemon, where everybody's like got their favorites.
like. Mhm.
So they're gonna be really inclined to get their favorites.
Yeah. I mean, also like fucking the Amiibos. Most of them don't look good. The production value in those things is not the price that they ask you.
I was honestly just waiting for them to start doing basically like recolors or special like
They did.
misprints of Amiibo.
Pretty sure they did do recolors for some.
Some Funko Pop FNAF shit to them. Blacklight version.
There was Silver and Gold Mario.
I forgot.
Those
about
were like
that.
the big ones.
Oh my god, I forgot about those.
Man, what was super funny is that I saw a gold Mario during like a Smash Tourney event at GameStop, and I was like, "Oh my god, there it is! I can pick it up." But like my money,
Yeah, don't.
and I was like, "I'm gonna wait like 2 or 3 days
That was
when I get
foolish.
some extra on me and
You
come
wanted
back
it,
and
you
see
should
what's
have
still
bought
there."
it.
Yeah, I should have honestly. Instead, I ended up finding a silver Mario, and that's what I ended up with.
But no,
Uh,
fucking like God, we can talk about fucking Amiibos for the next like goddamn decade. But
Would you
I do
rather
want to
Skylanders,
broach
though?
something because it is funny. Sony trying to do Nintendo, but doing it only adequately. The fucking PlayStation Move.
Yes.
The what now?
The
PlayStation
was it
Move.
I think it was PS3 and PS4. It might just have been PS4. No,
It
it was
was
PS3,
PlayStation
PS4.
3.
It was PS3, PS4. I remember because there were light gun games in the PS3.
Oh,
Fucking
PlayStation Move, yeah. I thought you were talking about the iToy from PlayStation 2.
Oh, dude, we definitely got to
That
talk about the
is
iToy.
cool.
But let's real quick talk
We can
about
talk
the
about
move because the
that.
I don't know
iToy's
what the
sick.
iToy is
No,
either.
no. We cannot broach that quite yet. The fucking move, like, I've used that thing. It's good. I wouldn't necessarily like. It's slightly better than a Wii, like regular Wii controller. That's about it. It's slightly better than the Wiimote, but it looks like shit.
I gotta
It's
be
not
honest, when
form-fitting.
you kept saying the PlayStation Move, I didn't know what you were talking about until you said it's kind of like a Wiimote, and then I was like, oh yeah, that's what they called their fucking Wiimotes.
Yep.
That's how recognizable those shits are.
God, I
She's
just
like,
remember.
oh, they are the thing that
This
Nintendo
thing looks like a
did.
vibrator.
Okay, holy shit. We have a whole fucking PS2 generation of PlayStation peripherals we definitely gotta broach.
Like,
but
I had to look it up because I didn't know what the hell you guys were talking
Let's-
about.
let's definitely talk about the mode and the fucking move. Like, that is smart. It's smart design. It's a good idea? I don't know. Skyward Sword begs to differ, but it's...
Are these things meant to be used for VR now? By any chance?
Yes, they are.
They
Oh,
are used
okay.
for that.
Because I was like, why are
Okay.
these things $890?
Holy shit.
Okay, so
Um,
let me explain to you really quick, okay? For PSVR, instead of opting to make brand new technology to support like full motion and shit with your hands and everything in between, they said, actually, let's just use the technology we already have and rebrand it as PSVR controllers. So they turned a decade-old piece of peripheral that used to cost like $20, $30. Now, standard price to buy 2 of them is $100.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. It's like a Sony PlayStation Move Twin Pack, and then it has like something about VR, and it's $890. And I was like,
It is-
Jiminy Christmas.
It is such a ripoff. You have no clue. I was like, I'm not dropping $100 for this. So what I did instead is I got on that app Let Go from like years ago, and I found someone who was selling like a bundle of PS3 stuff with the PlayStation Move, and I was like, hey, I just want your controllers. Can we cut a deal? And I bought it for like $25.
So wait, do the old controllers now work with VR?
Yeah,
Are they
they do.
Are they?
It's
are they
literally the same
compatible?
tech. Yes, they're literally the same tech. The only difference between the ones that Sony is selling now is is literally just the charging port. They just use a different charging thing.
of course.
They
So more
other than
efficient.
that, it's literally the same thing. So you can use PS3 shit on your PS4 and it
Sick.
still work fine.
But no, like, those motion controllers make so much sense. And again, leave it to Nintendo to be like, here's a thing that's existed for like a decade. Let's just rebrand it, retool it, make it more like user friendly, and let's go. Cause what a fucking Wii motion controller, not even Wii, that's a different fucking thing. That's like the extra thing you click in. Whatever. A Wiimote.
The Wii Motion Plus.
Yeah, whatever. A Wiimote is like just a light gun.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's just a light gun. It's just like, it's more form-fitting, it's easier, it can charge.
Yeah.
It's not directly attached to a giant, unwieldy arcade cabinet.
Not a light gun. It's just a TV remote with extra steps.
No, it's a light gun.
Yeah.
It's an aesthetic TV remote.
And that's why you buy the,
I say
the
that
fucking
because it's
gun
using,
accessories for the Wii remote. Like
it's
I
using
did.
same oh god, what is it?
Layout?
Like
Yeah.
locational direction technology.
Yeah, remotes use like an infrared camera, but
And
just
then
less
that would be light gun
complexly.
technology. But yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like a light gun is just an
I
SC.
didn't know that actual TV remotes. That sounds. Wow, people are lazy. Holy shit! Can't click buttons. But no, like I don't even think. I don't know like how many light gun games really had like motions like the Wii games did with like sword slashes and all kinds of like making. I mean, fucking. Last time we fucking talked about it briefly, but like goddamn Harry Potter games where you like do the fifth game or whatever, where you do like the spell like patterns and shit.
Well, actually, my father had a weird light gun game that came packed in with a Time Crisis game on PS2. I remember it was bright orange,
Oh,
and it played just like it would on the arcade. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. But I think my dad was afraid I was gonna break it, so he never let me play it. But it's like there was that they made a light gun for that thing, and I remember there was a mechanic where you
yeah.
could put up a shield somehow.
Oh yeah,
So it's
no.
like it seemed like the PS2 had something like that for a bit.
Yeah,
well,
Time Crisis 3. I have that actually. I have the gun con. Probably not the same ones for it, but
Yeah,
man, that shit was really fun.
yeah,
I
it
will
looked
ask this
fun.
like on the topic of the goddamn Wii mode. Y'all like
Mhm.
using it?
No, not really.
I like it. It's fine.
Depending on the game.
Yeah, I agree. I
Yeah.
wholeheartedly agree. Like depending on the game, because it's just a more limited controller. It's like your fucking hands are further apart, so you can do less stuff.
Yeah, like the Wii Sports, it always worked. Like it's all in the sense of whether it properly works. Because
Yeah.
like for a lot of people, it didn't work in certain games, and that would highly affect how they felt about a game. You know, there was Skyward Sword. Skyward Sword is one of the most divided games when it comes to Legend of Zelda, and then it just got a re-release, and it got a lot more love because it didn't deal with all
I don't
those
know if it got a
awkward.
lot more love, but it got more love.
It
No,
got
he's
more
right.
love.
It did get a significant change because a lot of people were.
But that has nothing to do with like it being re-released. It has nothing to do with
Because it didn't
its
have the motion
People have
controls.
been asking for analog Skyward Sword for years.
It
Yeah,
has
that's what
it
I'm
has something
saying.
to
kind of
do with
agree
the
with
fact
The
that
thing
it
that
came
was
out
mainly
after Breath of
holding
the
it
Wild.
back, the thing that was mainly holding it back was the difference between certain people playing the motion controls. Like if the motion controls worked fine, it was perfect. It was great.
Iconic.
But when it
This is
didn't
my
work,
hill to die on.
No, I'm sorry. I have to side with Iconic on this one. He is correct. People complained about the controls a lot.
I know people
Yeah.
complain about the controls. My point is, the game doing well has nothing to do with that necessarily. It has to do with the fact that Zelda is bigger than it has ever been.
Okay, that definitely helped.
It's
But
never
you have to
not.
admit that if it was
It's
released
not
with the
nothing.
shitty
I'm
controls,
gonna fight
it
you
still
on
would not
this.
have been praised.
But
That's fine.
Like-
I will
like Shiny-
die on this hill. I will take every
You'll
fucking
Die
spear you got.
alone.
Shiny, my boy. The single lowest point for Zelda was the CDI. It has never had a low point like Skyward Sword's motion controls. But like I said, Zelda's never not been popular. All the games usually do pretty well. The only like people were divided on Wind Waker, but they warmed up to it once they got past the graphics. Twilight Princess was basically Ocarina of Time 2, which obviously that was good. So people like that. Skyward Sword was the only one that was really, really a big thing for people because the motion controls were very inconsistent. It would
Skyward Sword, to put it this way, Skyward Sword was the only one I would see people genuinely and passionately argue was bad.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that was because
Like,
the motion controls. Now that it doesn't have the motion controls in its re-release, it got a lot more love. Like
I
you
mean,
know.
I'd still
So,
argue
yeah.
Skyward Sword is pretty bad. Even.
Oh no, Skyward Sword is really not that good. I definitely believe that. I'm just saying it now has the opportunity
No,
to suck
I
up
know, but
its own merit.
I'm saying as like again, this is my hill to die on. It came out after Breath of the Wild. It's the only reason why it's doing
That's okay.
anything.
My hill to die on when it comes to Zelda.
The only reason why it's getting re-released.
My hill to die on when it comes to Zelda is Wind Waker is actually good, and I will fight you if you say otherwise.
Wind Waker
Absolutely.
is legitimately
And
good.
in my opinion, the art style is cute and charming, and anyone who kept on complaining
But
about it should just
but I
fucking deal.
will say this in the topic of Wind Waker. Too much water, 8 out of 10.
That's the point. More boat, less fucking around.
Yeah, but that's a problem.
That's a great part about it. I like going to little islands.
For the gameplay, it's an issue.
Okay, it does take sometimes a really annoying
Long
amount of
time to travel with no fast traveling and only your
Well,
boat.
you did get fast travel eventually. You just had to get into the actual game.
Yeah.
You should not be a little bitch and give up because you were
Yeah,
intimidated by the ocean.
You had to go meet the bird people and like halfway through the game or some shit.
Exactly.
Wait,
Don't
wait,
be a
wait,
little
wait,
bitch.
Johnny.
Get in the boat. Deal with the ocean.
One more point before we move on. Twilight Princess was a dual release. It released on GameCube with
Yes.
normal controls, and then it released on the Wii with motion controls. And that didn't fuck up the game because it had the option of not having the motion controls in the first place. So, like I said, yeah, I would assume, I would say it's pretty fine to say that the motion controls is what mainly killed Skyward Sword.
Yeah, I will put in my own input on that
Yeah.
because I am one of those people who did not have a problem with the motion controls. Because I feel like most people who had a problem with it are the ones who were incredibly impatient and didn't know when to stop and reset their the sensor on their
That
controller.
didn't have the Wii Motion Plus. That also was a factor.
That is. And it's a game literally about taking your time with
Yeah.
your attacks and shit. You're not supposed to go crazy with it.
Yeah.
And it works for what it is. If you were to take out if you were to not consider the motion controls and you looked at the game objectively speaking, I can see issues with it.
Yep.
And I can understand why people don't like the game outside of the motion controls for
Absolutely,
what it is.
Yeah, like, and
Because
that's my
it's-
point. It's like I don't think the motion controls really was that big of a deal for Skyward Sword. It's not a good, like, it's not a, well, it's an okay, like, Zelda game, but the problem is, I mean, fuck, we want to talk about fucking Skyward Sword, like, character designs, not great. Dungeon design, god-awful.
Yeah.
Like, it's got some, combat, slow as fuck.
The only thing I know about that game is that I think you could bone your sword. Or people want to bone
I think
the
there's a sword spirit, yeah.
She's a hot blue lady and people want to
People
fuck her. That's
like
all I
feet?
know.
I don't remember people
I
liking
mean,
feet.
it does
I don't
have
remember
hot
people liking
impa.
feet
That's about
either.
all I know.
Yeah,
In fact, I remember people hating Fee.
yeah.
Makes sense.
Let's
See,
not
I've
forget-
seen so much
Zelda.
porn of her.
Also,
Not
let's not forget
willingly,
about
but I
the most-
have.
It's a different topic.
Let's not forget about the most important thing about Skyward Sword, not Akuma, the final boss.
I don't remember that.
That was
I think
still
I've
like one of the
seen
funnest boss fights,
people
though.
joking that he was just Akuma, and I was like, what? And then I
Really?
saw like an image of him, and I'm like, oh no, yeah, I get it.
He's just Akuma. It's so fucking funny.
But no, the Wiimote was like, it was fine. The nunchuck can go die in a pit, but that's because it's nothing. It's got a little bit, it's got a little like gyro, not even gyro. It's got like a little thing that detects like movement slightly. Actually, it is a gyro, kind of like a gyro. It's kind of like a gyro. And then it's got a stick, and that's fucking it. It's it. That controller sucks. The Wiimote itself is fine.
Clearly, you didn't play Punch Out on the Wii with the motion controls.
Oh god, dude, I wish I owned Punch Out for the fucking. That game is sick. I've never played it.
It is so fucking sick, bro. It was the sickest shit ever. And having like actually doing the motion controls was really fun. Like that's like one of the best like games, like one of the best examples of the Wii's. Like when it worked, it really worked. Like it worked so well on Punch Out. Punch Out was so fucking fun.
Okay, so now when we're done with talking about Sony's failures and how Nintendo just did it better, unfortunately. Let's fucking actually talk about 2000s PlayStation 2 Sony peripherals. I'm talking fucking Guitar Hero, the Buzz, fucking
Hell
like,
yeah.
let's just. I mean, first of all, Guitar Hero. Everybody was
Dude.
like some fucking 10-year-old being like, "This is sick."
Dude, that was the funnest fucking experience ever as a 9-year-old. Oh, and not just Guitar Hero, there was like the Singing Star games too.
Oh, dude, I forgot about the fucking micro. They literally just make you buy a microphone.
Wasn't the like
Yeah.
microphone designed to like help amplify
That
your
was,
voice or
uh,
No,
garbage?
it's got like a boost.
That was
that's
the
all.
other one. That wasn't Guitar Hero. That was
That was the SingStar.
Rock Band.
Rock
There
Band?
was Rock Band as well.
Yeah, it was also Rock
Yeah,
Band.
Rock
yeah.
Band as well.
With the drums.
Rock Band
and
if
shit.
you wanted to have the guitar and the drums and the singing.
Oh, yeah.
It's the full circle.
No,
the
we're
full meal
talking
deal.
about SingStar. That's a different one. It's actually,
my bad.
holy shit, let's actually talk about SingStar because now when I think about it, I think it's called that. I'd
Yeah,
have to look
it's
up.
the
But-
Sing Star series.
But it's like,
they had
those games are 100%, they scream fucking Japanese influence. They fucking shriek it from the rooftops. Because that is literally just karaoke in your living room.
yeah.
And that is the most Japanese goddamn thing you will ever find on the fucking PS2. Much as
yeah.
the releases mostly had like English songs and Western bullshit. And I don't know if there are regional differences. There probably were. I don't even know if it came out in Japan, but it is the most Japanese fucking idea of all time. And it was genius.
Yeah.
And it was a good microphone.
They surprisingly, I remember playing with that when I was like 10 or something.
Yeah.
I only ever played it when I was younger. It helped me discover the Black Eyed Peas. Wait, no, the Killers. I don't know why I say Black Eyed Peas.
No one needed to discover the Black Eyed Peas in the United States.
What are you talking about? Hundreds upon thousands of kids figured out who Will.i.am was from X-Men Origins Wolverine.
That's true.
But yeah, there was Singing Star. It's a series. They had several games. I own Singing Star Rock, I think. It was the only one I owned. Because I didn't realize at the time how many there were. But I think there was like Singing Star Pop, probably country. It feels like something they would do.
I don't know if that is true, but I do know that we're
I
pop
can
and rock.
look it up really quick, actually. Let me see.
There's no country. There is a Hannah Montana, which is close enough.
That's it's like country, kinda.
So I looked up this game because I have no idea what it is, and my god,
it's straight up just karaoke. It's actually genius.
the covers for these games are absolutely hilarious.
Oh yeah. And on the back, it's like featuring songs like fucking Britney Spears' "Toxic"
Because
and
okay,
what the hell is the Katy Perry song? Something with candy, whatever.
because like
God, they had so
PlayStation
many.
2's SingStar has the art direction of what looks to be like, okay, you know those shitty mobile games that are like, OMG, what are you gonna do? Are you going to kiss this guy or push him into the pool? You know those ones that they're horrible. They were horrible. They haunted me for like until I got ad blocker. Those horrible ads. They have that art style. And then there's PlayStation 3's SingStar, which has
Wait, what?
a dude that yeah, there's PlayStation 3 SingStar. Look at that cover.
Sick.
This dude's, it's just this guy wearing giant sunglasses and
Oh yeah, I'm
he
looking
looks
at it
like
right
from
now.
the Disney Channel.
And actually,
It
no,
really
it wasn't
does.
a PS3 because I didn't own a PS3 until late into the PS3's life.
This is literally just like Disney Channel man trademark.
But no, like
God.
again, SingStar just proves like 100% like Sony was a Japanese company. I don't know what the fuck they are now. Well, they're figuring it out. They moved their headquarters to California. I think they're still technically in California. I don't know, but I know that they like Sony wrested control back of PlayStation. So the Japanese division is like in charge of shit again. So hopefully that leads to something, but I doubt it because it made them so much goddamn money being American. Imagine they'll just keep chasing the money, especially now when shit we've seen how liquid goddamn Microsoft is. But no, like SingStar was it's just genius. It's such a good idea. One, it's an expensive fucking like peripheral that's a literal microphone you're forcing people to buy. Two, again, it just carries that Japanese spirit of like after school karaoke. And it was fun, right? It was cool. It was neat. Well, it wasn't cool, but it was neat. The Buzz. That goddamn video game.
The Buzz?
That I have never heard about either.
Like it's
like a quiz show thing.
Yeah, it's like a weird quiz show. It had like this weird controller that had like buttons. It was like a bad Guitar Hero guitar, but like it was like a remote with like a big buzzer.
Yeah.
It was.
I recall for commercials for that and just thinking, why the fuck why?
I mean, it can
It's
be
just
fun.
like the plastic tennis rackets you clipped onto your Wiimotes. Like, why do you need that?
Yeah, it is a waste of money. But I mean, the game is fine. Like, it's just a quiz thing. It's just like, who wants to be a millionaire, but not that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine. Like, what's a fine peripheral? Again, it's a waste of money. It's a cute little thing. It looks neat. Whatever. It's genius. Make people spend money on more bullshit. Make more bullshit. However, I think that was really cool for the time and eventually would become the Kinect. The fucking iToy. This little camera that takes like a billion fucking pictures. I mean, I'm assuming that's how it has to work. It takes like a billion pictures of your ass a second. Not a billion, but like a lot. To kind of figure out where on the screen you are. Because it doesn't have proper motion tracking. It's literally just like, it reacts to where roughly it sees there's something on the like on the camera lens.
Mm-hmm.
It had like a couple of different games, and they were like, they're fine. It was fine. It was cool. Like, it's much smaller than a Kinect. it was like it was very, very fucking like small. It was a neat like just it was literally just a camera that reacts to where you are, kind of, but not really.
Can we actually talk about Kinects for a moment?
No, we'll talk about Kinects after.
Fine, fair.
Because it'll move to there. And it's like I enjoyed the iToy. I think it's a shame that Sony didn't like pursue that idea, because clearly like Microsoft eventually did. Just straight up stole the idea, made it better. Well, better. Okay.
Question mark.
New Kinect, yes. Old Kinect. But it's like, I mean, Iconic, you've played an iToy game, right?
I played what?
You've played an iToy game, right?
No.
No, you've never played
it. I played an iToy.
You played an iToy game?
I at least remember it. I at least remember it existed.
I didn't. I've never heard of this before until now.
What did you all think of it? Like,
it was interesting.
As a theme.
It was interesting, but and the problem with it is it's the beginnings of the Kinect, but they weren't doing enough with it.
No.
It felt very like there was a lot of disconnect to it. They didn't use it enough.
Yeah.
It was always like an add-on feature to games, which therefore it's like the hardware was there, the software wasn't.
Yeah, agreed.
Did you mean the iToy? Because you said Kinect.
No, iToy. We're talking about the iToy.
Oh, I said it needed to become the Kinect. It's like
it's
got the same. It's got the same basis as the Kinect, but it's not doing what the Kinect does software-wise, as in it's not being used enough in the game. It's always some add-on bonus feature off to the side.
That's not true.
That's
They're
like very
games for it.
like quarantined away from the rest of the game that uses the iToy.
Yeah, I've only ever played like the one pack-in game for the iToy, so I never got to experience anything else with it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just a fun little thing for my 5-year-old self to play with.
I mean, that's fair. Like, again, the iToy eventually becomes the Kinect, and the Kinect was somehow worse. And then it became the new Kinect, and the new Kinect is actually good.
Well, the thing that I wanted to ask is, because the Kinect, I remember, had a lot of problems when it first came out. Not so much with how it actually worked. I mean, there were obviously problems with how it actually worked and it working at all. But its biggest problem was people at the time were not very trusting of anything. I mean, conspiracy theories are bad now, but they were bad then. So obviously there was the whole idea of, oh no, they're trying to make people put cameras in their houses. They're selling our information to the government. And I feel like that is the weirdest, but also biggest hurdle for the Kinect and every other thing that is similar to it.
On the topic of that, they did eventually end up doing that with the new Kinect.
Okay, yes. People did actually confirm that their Kinects were, like, turning on when they weren't supposed to be turning on. But do you really think that they were selling people's information?
Why not?
I mean, it's Microsoft.
Yeah, it's a company. Why not?
Okay.
What do you think a cookie is?
What do you think Cortana is?
I know some people
we don't talk about
her. Cortana's a giant
killed her.
Advertised me using it. Yeah, I do think they were selling our information.
Absolutely, 100%. But no, the old Kinect, like, I mean, were there good Kinect games? I don't think so. There were a lot of games that, like, Iconic. We can definitely talk about this because I know you and me fucking know this shit. Ultimate Tenkaichi. How did you think rock paper scissors worked at the Kinect?
Poorly.
Actually, my friend, it didn't work at all because they made a re-release Dragon Ball Z for Kinect, which was just rock paper scissors. It was the exact same game, but now there's Kinect controls.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I know, but I'm just saying, you gotta love that. It wasn't even just Ultimate Tenkaichi was compatible with the Kinect. No, you had to buy a completely separate game.
Oh, that's what you... Okay, yeah, fair enough. They Nintendo'd it real hard.
Kinect games actually work? Because here's the thing.
Okay, the Kinect...
Did not own.
The Kinect is a camera lens that detects...
Okay, yes.
Roughly whereupon...
But, like, what happens when you play a game with it? Is it basically the same as VR games now, where it detects movement and then...
No.
Translates that?
Like I said, the Kinect is a camera lens whereupon it takes, like, a video of you, and then it roughly tracks where in the image you are located at any one time during this video.
The idea of the Kinect was that you, the player, were a controller, and it would only work half the time. It would work 100% of the time if you played Just Dance, and then it would 30% of the time if it was any other game.
Literally, I can confirm that. because pretty much all we would play is Just Dance on the
Makes
Kinect.
sense.
I don't know what sorcery is it, but it's like, yeah, no, it can perfectly detect all your dance moves, but God forbid if it would connect with anything
I mean,
else.
to be fair,
Like,
the same could be said for like Just Dance on the Wii. Every other like Wii motion game is like weird as fuck. That game in particular just works.
Mm-hmm.
God
Well,
forbid you
like I
play
said-
Sonic Free Riders.
Oh god.
Oh yeah, that was a thing.
But no,
That was literally the only reason why I ever bought a Kinect, because I was so
Kinect's such a
excited to play Sonic
fascinating
Free Riders.
piece of architecture because it came out during the time when Xbox was fucking winning the console war super hard.
Very briefly.
It was during. What do you mean briefly? It was several years.
I don't know.
It was
PC was thing.
like almost the entirety of the 360's lifespan until the Wii.
I'm just saying, like, you know, people still were playing like on their PCs. You know, like console war.
Back in like
2000
and I don't really know about how many people were necessarily playing PC.
My dad he was playing Far Cry.
Fair enough.
The really old one with the mutant monkeys.
That's right. Ubisoft always released their games on PC.
The really shitty old one with the mutant monkeys. My entire family would gather around the computer and we would play it together.
On a
Truly
tiny
a
little
family
screen.
bonding activity if ever I've heard one. In our shitty tiny office too is great. Anyway, back to topic.
But no, it's like, again, the Kinect is just so fascinating because it is from that arrogant Xbox like time period, which is why it's kind of rough and it's not really good and it wasn't really particularly well made and there weren't really that many great games for it. I mean, the one Kinect game everybody has fucking played at some point, be it at the library or at a friend's house or you owned it, Star Wars Kinect.
No. In fact, no. No one owned it goddamn Kinect anywhere near me.
That game sucks.
But it gave us the Han Solo.
No, I know.
cover.
I'm Han Solo. Like, no, that part is the best one. The Just Dance portion of that game is the best portion of that game and works worse than Just Dance.
It is so funny.
But it's like, that game it's just bad. It's just so fucking bad. And there were a lot of games like that. The first person, like, Kinect games. What the fuck? Was it a Silent Hill? It might have been a Silent Hill or it might have been some other thing, but that was like some kind of horror game.
I think you're thinking about Rise of Nightmares or something.
Maybe. And there was like a Saw game on there, I think.
Rise of Nightmares was a first-person Kinect horror game. There was the Armored War series, which is infamous for having its own very complicated controller. And they're like, let's not do that. Let's you be the controller. And it didn't work, and it sold like shit.
Nice.
Like I said, it's so funny. Like the idea with the Kinect was to try to beat out the Wii and the barely existing PlayStation Move. It's like, oh, they have controllers. What if you were the controller? And like I said, it only worked very, very sparingly.
Yep.
But yeah, like I said, Rise of Nightmares, that was a thing. I forgot that was a thing, Cord. That was such a weird game. It was like a weird, like, fun house sort of thing, but it's like you could die. But it's like, how are you gonna be fucking scared when you have to do the controls yourself? Like, you look like a fucking idiot. You can't be scared when you look like an idiot.
Yeah. I never played it myself, but I did watch a full playthrough of it. That game's fucking weird, man.
So weird. It is so fucking funny and weird.
I just don't know how they even... It's like they made a horror game and then someone told them, hey, slap the Kinect controller onto that shit. And that's what happened.
It's gonna feel so scary because you're the one controlling the person because it's you, but it's like, no, but you look like an idiot. Like who the fuck stands up and pretends to walk and is scared by pretending to walk? Like, that's not how that works. But guys.
And they knew that shit wasn't gonna work because they had an auto run like button where you just raise your hand in the air and you start walking towards your next direction, your next objective.
Yep.
One game I do remember being somewhat interesting. I didn't get to play it myself, but it was called the Gunstringer.
The hell?
Oh yeah.
It was like a weird third-person shooter thing where, like, instead of like being the person thing, the idea was that the character was like a marionette. So you had one hand like control it as if you were like a puppet master, and then your other hand acted like a gun, and it was really weird but cool.
That seems like a neat idea.
I'm sorry, but the phrase "your other hand was just a gun" is weirdly funny to me.
It's really funny. It's like, oh, hey, finally somebody's like, yeah, let's not do the thing that will probably tire people out within 10 minutes.
And I will say that's definitely something we see like now post towards like the middle of the PS4's existence is the Neo Kinect with the Xbox One X.
Oh yeah,
I think, or not One X. No, it is One X. Yeah, with Xbox One X, the Neo Kinect.
I'll be right back.
And like, it's showing that like Xbox gave a shit because they made the Kinect again, but they made it good this time, and now it works, and nobody really complains about it, aside from the fact that the thing won't turn off. But
didn't they get rid of that? Because I'm pretty sure they got a bunch of...
I think they did.
I'm pretty sure people started complaining aggressively and started taping their cameras anyway, so I'm pretty sure there was like a massive update to stop them from doing the weird spying thing, which, okay, here's my thing. If you are gonna spy on your people, if you're gonna sell someone a product that spies on them, because for Alexa it's a lot easier. She's always on. She's always listening. So if you get like a stupid Amazon Alexa, you're asking to be spied on.
She ain't on if I fucking run her through with anything.
Okay, yes, and you should. Don't get one of those things. My point is though, is that like if you have a thing like a Kinect that turns on and is very clearly on when you're not using it, people are going to notice. So wouldn't it have just been easier to only spy on them when they turn it on? Why would you do the very dumb, very obvious "we're watching you" thing that gets people angry and like people are boycotting it and stuff? It would
that becomes a business thing, right? Like you make the decision, you talk about it with a boardroom of sleazebags, and then you just have to go through with it because the sleazebags want it until the sleazebags realize, oh shit, this is bad, and then they.
Well, like I said, people boycotted it until there was a massive update that stopped it.
Like, that's kind of the big problem with the game industry as a whole. Is like a lot of this stuff is held by shareholders for the most part, which again is why Nintendo is so fucking cool as all the companies, because they for the most part are their shareholders, and they are shitty businessmen, but at the very least they're in charge, not some asshole from Wyoming.
Fair enough. Also, to now broach something that I've been thinking about silently while you guys have been talking about the Kinect, because I did bring it up. VR in general, I do not own a VR headset, but this is not necessarily because I dislike VR, though I do think it would likely burn my poor little retinas because I have very sensitive eyes. My issue with VR is that there's too fucking many options. And I know that sounds like a weird complaint to have because the options are in fact quite limited, but the problem that I have is every single like company and group is making their own VR headset, and because there's this big push in video games right now for exclusivity, all of these VR headsets have their own exclusive games specific to their headsets and their specific blah blah blah, which means that you are in fact limiting the pool of games and making it less desirable to get a VR headset overall. Because if I could just buy any VR headset, anyone, be it the weird Facebook one, be it the Steam one, be it Microsoft's, be it Sony's, at this point I'm just waiting for the Nintendo VR headset to come out because every fucking company has one.
It did. A long time ago.
We don't talk about that. We can talk about that.
We have to talk about that.
Details. Anyway, the point is, if you buy, say, a Sony VR headset, you are then stuck only being able to play games that have signed a contract with Sony, and so your pool of VR games is limited to that headset. So if you see a VR game on, say, Steam, and you're like, I want to play that, you cannot just grab your stupid Sony headset and have it work. Sometimes it won't. And that's been interesting to find out because, like, I saw a super cute VR game. I ended up sending it to a friend who I know owns a VR headset, and I was like, hey, like, this game looks right up your alley. And she had to respond with, oh yeah, it would be. I would love to buy and play it, except it's tied to this specific VR headset and brand, which means that my VR headset is not compatible. Why the fuck are you doing that? Why are we making VR headsets so exclusive? I mean, as a video game peripheral already, and as a new topic, as like a new thing in general, VR headsets are already having a hard time breaking into the market. By making them have this exclusivity problem, you're causing them to be harder to market. You're ruining the entire thing before it's even off the ground.
Well, that's the thing. They're not treating them like video game peripherals. They're treating them like new video game consoles.
Yeah, like
That's how you need to
consoles.
think about them.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff going on into it, which is why they're marketing them so hard for what they are versus what they're trying to what's the word I'm looking for? Supplement
I mean, the
it.
biggest problem right with VR as a whole, they're heavy.
Yeah, I mean, it
They're
depends on the model nowadays.
really freaking heavy, and people are gonna end up with headaches just from the weight alone. Like, and
Also, I want to tell
Facebook's-
you the unfortunate thing is I just hold on real quick. I wanted to bring Marie's thing full
That's
circle.
fine.
The headset that appears to be doing the thing where it's trying to be less exclusive, but at the same time also exclusive, is unfortunately the Oculus Facebook thing. Because that one has a mode where you can plug it into a computer and use your Steam library, but at the same time, it's got exclusives like the RE4 remake.
Yep.
Lovely.
Yep.
And the RE4 remake is also specifically stuck on the one that can't connect to your computer.
No,
then
it
you have-
can. I just said it can connect to
No,
your
it
computer.
can, but
Shine.
like it has like delay. Like it's not because the problem is the whole like a whole VR headset runs the game as opposed to your computer running it. That's what I mean.
Well, all right. So when you connect your VR headset to your computer, it's using the processing power of your computer at that point
Yes,
versus
Shiny.
just the headset.
You're cabled in. It's using your computer.
I'm pretty sure that's not
It
the
can
case.
be either or.
When it comes
No,
to specifically
either
the
or.
no, specifically the one that RE4 is on. I'm pretty the first one is on. I'm pretty sure.
RE4 is on.
I'm saying I'm fairly certain that is the case. That you cannot like some games can do that. RE4 specifically couldn't. Just a minor little thing.
It can't because it's on the Facebook store version, so it needs to run on the
Yeah, there you
headset
go.
itself.
That's what it is.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, which is stupid, incredibly stupid.
It's trying to be like the Switch of VR headsets.
It is,
So it's rough.
but it's like again, VR is just it's cumbersome. You need a lot of room for it. Like again, it will never beat like gaming, especially not gaming nowadays with like the Switch, which you don't even fucking need a big TV for. You don't even need anything actually. You just need to buy this shitty little docket.
That's the thing.
And you're good.
The Quest 2 is trying to be the Switch of VR. You can take it outside and play outside in space.
I've seen people
Now
play
you have to
with
be
the
okay
Quest.
being blindfolded outside.
Yeah, I
but
was about to say.
yeah.
It's never
I've
gonna
seen
work,
people
right?
who
It's never gonna
charge
be the
their
same.
Tesla cars play with the Quest.
Oh Jesus Christ!
That is like that is kind of the sad thing because VR does have some really interesting games and people are clearly trying to do some really interesting and creative things with it. So there's options, but again, the problem with VR is like you have all these different, as you put it, they're basically trying to turn them into consoles. So there's the exclusivity issue that comes with the same as consoles. They're pretty expensive. They're heavy, so wearing them is very difficult. There is no solution. There's no one size fits all. Some people have complained that they're too large. Other people have complained that they're too small.
Let's be real. There's one solution to the VR problem, and it's the fucking like nerve gear from fucking SAO. That's the only way VR is ever going to become anything. Is if you can just like jack your ass in and never fucking leave your bed.
Yeah,
Like-
but then you have SAO. So let's not ever.
Because
I don't like
again,
that.
it's too cumbersome having to like move around. It's too cumbersome, being blindfolded in public or like
Or being blindfolded
Just
in your
out
own
of
home
shape.
and
I
the
gotta
hitting a
say,
table.
I got to try my boyfriend's Quest 2 headset, and I'm probably just out of shape. But I feel like within the hour, and I was playing an art game. I was playing a one of those VR art studio type games where you can look at other people's art and just sort of like 3D style extrude different brushes into space.
Ah,
Within like an hour, and I was sitting down to do this too. It's like just lifting my arms and stuff. I was like, my arms are tired,
yep.
and I'm kind of sick of this.
Oh. Because the VR is just
Um,
too cumbersome right now. Like, and it's just always going to be like in its current format. It's such a like it's gonna stay a niche thing forever. Like you're not going to get people to move around and be blindfolded the entire time unless you can do the fucking like VR glasses. Like literally click a button, turn the fucking screen on off.
Oh yeah.
It's not gonna happen.
And
This
again,
is
there's the
trying to
problem of
also do that. It's got like a menu feature or something where it does use a camera on the front of it, so it's basically just becomes
That's
glasses for you
disorienting
to
as
look
fuck because
through.
that's gonna have latency.
But the games don't use that, so you are just blindfolded.
Yeah.
And again, there's the problem of it is not healthy to have a screen that close to your eyes. And I do not care what people say, and I do not care because I've seen people who defend VR try and argue they use special screens. It's not that bad. You're not even supposed to play for that long. The point is that you only play for like an hour, blah blah blah. I do not care. Maybe they do use special screens. Maybe they did put all this effort in research. I still don't think it's healthy to have a screen that close to my face and my eyeballs. And if you're someone who wears glasses, you're just screwed. How does that work?
No,
Okay.
I'm like
as a classes user who has a PSVR, they have tried to combat this by just being like it has more space on the inside, and that's just how it goes.
that's not gonna
I can
work,
wear my
but-
glasses comfortably with my VR headset, and I'm fine for the most part.
But no,
As long as your glasses aren't stupidly oversized,
some people need stupidly
So-
oversized glasses.
fair. But at the same, never mind. I'm not even gonna defend it.
That's fair. But no, like VR's again. As the technology guy, as the guy who's like, I like new shit. I like seeing the new shit. I like seeing what's happening. Whatever the fuck happened to graphic cards recently, I have no fucking idea. It's fascinating. VR always like interested me, but God, have I realized how much of a just completely impossibility for it to ever go mainstream, like in its current format. They're going to have to innovate on and stop iterating on it because like it's just not going to work. And Facebook is kind of trying to figure it out, but it's not enough. But like VR, right? Existed back in what was it, 1990, 1980? The Virtual Boy.
Ugh.
Did anyone here
When did
actually
the Virtual Boy
own a
come out?
Virtual Boy?
Absolutely not.
No.
Nope.
But I
Nope.
know
Know
about
how
it.
old we are.
I'm like, because that's the thing is, the Virtual Boy to me is a legend. It's a myth. It's like,
yeah.
my forefathers have told me legend of the great thing known as the Power Glove and the Virtual Boy. And I'm like, okay, so these are myths. I'll never see one with my own eyes, ever. And if I do, it'll be in a museum covered in dust and rust. That is my impression of both the Power Glove and the Virtual Boy.
I've seen both, and
Also,
In
for
person? Have
for
you
your
touched it?
reference, for your reference, released 1995, discontinued 1996.
Yeah, it was discontinued the year I was fucking born.
Yeah, that did not take off well at all.
I mean,
It was also Nintendo's first 32-bit system, I think,
Uh,
at the same time.
was it? Holy shit!
I
Believe, but it was only 2 colors, so everybody's just like,
Yeah,
It's
and
a
it's just
good idea, right? But it's just a matter
It
of
is a
like
32-bit processor, yes.
back in '95, the technology just wasn't there to do it. I respect Nintendo for doing it, and again, let's be real. Talk about like VR and how cumbersome and how fucking like Sony literally just iterated upon what already didn't work. I could see Nintendo fucking fixing it. I could see Nintendo making the VR system that works.
Okay, I looked it up. Cord is correct. The Virtual Boy is a 32-bit tabletop portable video game console developed and manufactured by Nintendo.
Cool. But because it's like, again, Nintendo always pulls out stuff that just we don't expect. They have some fucking crazy team of engineers that just can do it.
They're just having fun. Also, quick side note, the Virtual Boy
I think,
controller
like, the
looks
Virtual Boy would
weird
work if you
as
just strapped-
hell.
Yes.
3DS into it, 3DS XL into it. Just strap a 3DS XL to my face, it'll probably work.
Probably, honestly. I mean, they could probably take the chipset from that and like do something with it.
Oh, probably.
Grab all the discontinued fucking 3DSs and just like slap them together and be like, yes. Ultimate power.
We have
I mean,
created
to be
art.
fair, Sony just took like a bad CPU, a good GPU, and an SSD, and then a massive fucking fan to cool this thing, and they were like, give us $700.
Okay, quick question. How do you actually wear this thing? Because I'm looking at a picture of it, and I'm like, no, this doesn't make any sense.
You hold it
Oh,
with
the
your
Virtual
hands.
Boy?
It's heavy as fuck.
How do you hold it with your hands and use the controller?
The
Okay,
virtual,
no.
there's a stand. It has little legs that you stand it on a table and then you sit at
The world's
Yeah.
cheapest little
Yeah.
coat hanger stand.
Yep.
Yes.
or
Yeah,
you
you
do,
basically did that.
or you do like James Rolfe at the AGVN, just tape it to your head.
Yeah, there
Tape it to
was
your
no head
head.
strap. No one thought to put a head
Nope.
strap on it.
They probably thought it was
Or
too
you can
heavy.
lay on your back.
Yeah, and
put
likely
it
they
on
were
your face.
correct, and likely we're
You
still
lay on your
correct
back,
today.
and probably still use the stand. Have the stand just sort of rest on your chest
That's the other
for
thing. VR
stabilization.
headsets, like, aside from the Oculus Quest, which is, like, again, the lightest one of all of them because it's 80% cardboard. It's not cardboard, but it might as well have been. They're, like, not good for your
lot
neck
of
at
foam.
all. They're so bad for your
No.
fucking posture, your spine, your neck, your face.
Potentially your house if you don't put the wrist straps
That's
on.
the other thing, like, imagine just putting, like, some fucking 14-year-old in, like, a VR headset. Like, they're gonna get acne within the fucking hour.
I'm surprised I didn't get acne.
Like, again, they're just bad. It's not gonna work, guys. Just wait. Like, figure it out. Go back to the drawing board. Stop iterating. Stop making the same bullshit. Start innovating. Because
Hence
otherwise
why-
you're never getting anywhere.
Well, hence why I'm just like, no, I'm not buying this, especially because, like I said, the one way that they could have maybe convinced me is if everyone was like, okay, we all have our own versions, but we all just have, like, you can just use any of the VR headsets to play all of the games.
Not
then
even.
maybe I would have been like, there's something here, I can understand why other people buy it. I probably still wouldn't buy it myself. But right now I'm just confused because I'm like, I don't know why anyone buys these things because you're always
'Cause
just
new.
going to be limited and they're expensive and they're heavy. If you don't wear the wrist straps, you're just going to like take out your TV screen.
But no, again,
If
like,
there's any reason to buy a not PSVR, any VR headset, it'd just be for Beat Saber, honestly.
I mean, kind of. But you can play that
I'm
game
still
without it.
kicking
So.
myself for not playing Beat Saber on the fucking VR headset when I got the opportunity to try it. But to be fair, I was
Man.
like, I want something slow paced so I can get my sea legs, something I can sit
Yep.
down and do to see if I can even tolerate this stuff.
I mean,
Unsurprisingly, I can. But
Beat
yeah, that's
Saber
the
is
one thing I want to do.
Beat Saber is, in my opinion, a great first experience for anyone because you aren't doing any extreme activities, and it helps build your VR legs because you're just standing in one spot the entire time. You're
Oh
just
boy,
moving your head and swinging
you
your
say
arms.
that, but it. I don't know if it has a sitting version. It's like I wanted something specifically with a sitting version because it's like if I stand, I'm gonna sway, and if I sway, I'm gonna try and overcorrect, and if I try to
Yep.
overcorrect, something's going down, and it's
Yep.
probably me.
So when you said sea legs, you literally meant sea legs.
Yeah.
Yes, I meant sea legs. It's
Yeah.
like you got to make sure it doesn't give you motion sickness. Yeah.
The
Like, you
change
gotta
is-
calibrate
your
your human
brain
suit.
like does no longer registers how you're actually standing. Your sense of balance completely disappears because you are looking at something
Yeah, not
else.
to mention you're also not calibrated to all the weight that's on your head
Yep.
yet. Or the weight's in your arms. So it's like, yeah, I was completely I'm a bit of a klutz, so I was like completely probably going to go fucking overboard or trip on my
I
own
mean, again,
feet
I
if
think
I tried Beat Saber
one of those
first.
things is just gonna wreck my neck, and I don't want it.
Mhm.
I'm already a bit of a hunchback. The last thing I need is to add weight onto my brain.
But I trust, like, legitimately, again, Nintendo's a shit company when it comes to, like, business. They are ruthless businessmen. They are, like, the most business Japanese amongst all the Japanese that are not Square Enix because they're actually the worst. I trust them to fucking figure this out. I don't know when. I don't know if they'll even bother. They might literally just be like, stupid Americans doesn't understand
like,
that
"We
this
learned our-
is just bad.
We learned our lesson with the Virtual Boy. Never again.
But it's like, if anybody can do it, it's fucking Nintendo. Or some other third company that'll, like, figure it out and then Sony will steal it. Or
Sony
Amazon
or
will steal
So
it.
you mean
Microsoft.
so you
Amazon
mean
can steal it.
Microsoft with the HoloLens? Remember that
Hell's the
shit?
I mean, I know what the
Oh
HoloLens
god,
is, but that
why
never
did
happened,
you
did it?
remind me? That was nothing.
Remember when they did the
That was a
cool
couple
Your
of
God
tech
Minecraft
videos
moment?
and
Yes.
then nothing.
I remember the HoloLens. It's the neat technology. I don't
have
know how
no
it applies
idea
to
what
games.
I have no idea what you guys are talking
I
about.
do think it applies to creative learning.
Okay.
Lens.
All right, quick crash course. Microsoft had their own VR technology. They showed it off a few times during some
It's in
presentations,
VR,
but
it was like AR kind of.
AR, same. All right, yeah, basically. But
Not the
anyway,
same.
it was
It's a hologram.
basically Microsoft revealed it. They said it was going to be applied to something, and then they just stopped talking about it.
Yep.
And the only news I ever hear about the HoloLens nowadays is being applied to like real life technology or
Yep.
facilities like
Yep.
medical
Learning
shit.
facilities as well.
Interesting.
Like
But bringing
like
up
their prime
AR.
example of showing it off was like through a Minecraft
Actually, I
presentation.
think the
That's cute.
HoloLens was used for one thing. I believe
Was
it
it?
was used for a Battlefront 2, like, press bullshit thing.
It might be that they're trying to find a way to make them cheaper before they mass market.
I think they realized it wasn't for video games. is what.
Or maybe. Okay, so I have to ask because you guys said AR and it reminded me of something that always shocked me. In the place where I hail from, Farmville, Canada, trademark, we had an augmented reality arcade. An augmented reality arcade. I never went into it. It was in the weirdest location possible because it was like sandwiched between a bunch of like discount stores and things like that. But we had an augmented reality arcade. Have any of you heard of these? And if so, what is an augmented reality arcade? Because I always wanted to go inside because arcades are cool, but you know.
No clue.
I'm not familiar with that, although I do.
I have some clue.
I know of like laser domes and like.
What's the
normal
thing?
arcades.
So that's
It's
what I thought I might be.
probably a collection of games similar to, because I've been to an arcade. I've been into an arcade within the past 4 years, I suppose.
We've all been to
No,
an
wait,
arcade at some
it's
point.
probably been 6 years.
I haven't.
It was at a very specific time in my life. I think it's 6 years ago now. Okay. I think it includes those types of arcade games that have some sort of camera element that are doing Kinect style things, but because they're so specific to themselves and the machine, they're usually more calibrated than a Kinect and a better experience. But it's that same sort of like you are the controller, do this type of thing. There's probably going to be an element where they take a picture of you. But other than that, I have no clue.
Yeah.
I mean, my working theory was that it was a secret mafia hangout spot because I never saw anyone go in, never saw anyone out. It was always open, even in the middle of the night. And so I was just like, okay, sure. But at the same time, I'm incredibly curious, and if I ever have a chance to like go to one in the future, I would consider it because I've always loved the idea of actually going to a proper arcade. And I hope genuinely that arcades start to really come back. Because in my opinion, there's a huge market for them now. Even if everyone is kind of just, no one wants to go out or touch things that other people have touched right now for obvious reasons. I do think that there is still a market for arcades, for that like video game experience of playing with other people, friends, or even just random people that you've never met before. That's like a great way to connect. And considering that Japan's arcade scene has never seemingly slowed down and is just still wild, I would be inclined to give a like an augmented reality or even virtual reality arcade a shot in the future should they figure out the actual technology.
Not to kill your dream, but COVID-19 has actually slowed down the arcade business in Japan significantly.
Yeah, I've heard of that. It makes me sad because I'm like, no,
And to be
you are
fair,
the one place that is thriving
arcades
still.
in their current existence probably, well, frankly, shouldn't. I think what arcades need to do is just become net cafes with
Well,
arcade
yeah.
machines, and you like pay for a pass to be in there. You don't pay for individual play sessions.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, I agree with that because in my opinion,
I mean, look at it this way: it would just be Netflix, but you have to walk there.
I do think it makes more sense to have like, hey, let's change arcades so that people can come in. and how like in bowling alleys, there's usually just like a restaurant attached. Have that sort of thing.
Oh,
where
that's a
people can-
there's a
Yeah.
legitimate arcade attached to bowling alleys.
Yeah, well, it's not where I'm
Slot
from.
machines.
I
But,
mentioned
no,
the
it
last
makes-
time I'd been to an arcade. That's exactly what it was, a bowling
Yep.
alley with
Yeah.
an
Yeah, like
arcade
that
Yeah.
makes sense though. Is to
Dude,
just
my
like,
bowling alley has one too.
it makes sense to have people like be able to buy food. That way, you're making money off of like food, drinks, and maybe you pay them to like enter the building in the first place. And then just have a bunch of games set up. You can even have like dancing games and like actual arcade machine games, but you can also just have like some games where you can sit down, eat, and play with either people at your table or random people in the arcade just to like
We need to get the people
Have
in the
that.
Japanese sex industry on this because they know. Well, they know how to do a like invite. You pay entry fee and you get an experience. Once you're in, you can just leave and you can do it again the next day. We need to get those people on this idea for like arcades, and I think it's happening. Like it has to be happening because again, arcades in their current like version. I mean, they were always gachapon machines. They're becoming way worse. So I think definitely arcades need like some kind of new thing that makes them more accessible because at the moment
well, yeah,
Yeah.
paying by machine is kind of crazy.
it's also way too expensive to maintain.
Yeah.
Actually, to be fair, there may be, I don't know if Japan's going this way, but I did get to go to an arcade. What am I talking about? I got to go to an arcade like last year. Ah, memories. But I went to an arcade in the US that is more like retro styled, had some like Street Fighter cabinets,
Yeah.
a Centipede cabinet. That was pay for your time, not pay for the machine. All
Oh,
machines are free pay. Yeah. It was great. I think we paid like $15 for 30 minutes, and then you just get to play whatever. You can just abandon it, come back to it, depending on how many people are there.
it's a little bit expensive, but cool.
Well, it got it's one of those things like you pay for more time, it's a better price, but I only had 30 minutes.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
And then there's probably the fact of like, hey, we're gonna have to clean all these
I
machines
mean, I
a
also
lot.
don't know that I'm
and disinfect.
necessarily accounting for inflation because that's
Yeah.
whatever. The economy.
Well, like I said,
15
it's
bucks
inflation,
for
it's a
30 minutes.
pandemic.
Access to how many machines did they have? At least 20 machines. There were like some old school like Atari style ones in the
Oh my
back,
god, like I
and then
said,
the
to me
Street
that's like
Fighter
the future
cabinets.
of arcades. I think it'll
Predator
happen.
versus something.
Because a lot of arcades in like Japan are shutting down, have been shutting down. I think a lot of them will reopen with like a rebranding and stuff like that. And I think that's kind of what Japan is like waiting for. When Japan does it, hopefully the rest of the world actually follows this time because it would be really cool for people to be able to go out and meet people.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to just play new arcade machines, man.
Especially Japan. Japan's very lonely from what I can see.
Yeah.
Japan needs more ways for people to meet each other. Really
very
bad.
lonely and Gachapon not helping.
Someone bring a fucking Project Diva machine to my state, please. I don't want to
Hell
go
yeah.
to Texas.
I play it. I play it just to
Dude.
watch like
Ford.
Miku and Luca fucking like dance and be bad at it.
Oh god, I would
Ford,
suck
look
at
for look for an anime convention. They'll have one. Mine
I
did.
know.
Like the
I've
local one.
gone to
Yeah.
I've gone to fucking AX. Like I know.
it. Someday,
I got to play
will
one.
go
I was
to
very
a
bad at it.
convention, or God help
keep an
me,
eye
I
out.
will. I don't know what I'll do.
I don't think they had a DDR. Otherwise, I probably would have played the DDR. Granted, I probably would never have been able to because I'd have to wait in line for like fucking 10 hours.
I thought you were
But-
gonna say you would see all the colors
there
on
are
the
certain
screen and
things that
immediately
get
just give up.
lines.
No. I love DDR.
Really?
I
You.
went to an anime convention in 2019 that was not Anime Expo. It was more local, more small, but still they somehow managed. Now, granted, I'm in Southern California, so it's probably cheaper to import things.
Yep.
They had a Project Diva machine, several different flavors of dance machine. They set up some melee stations with a CRT TV
Of course
because
they
you just kind of
did.
have to. But they also had some Japanese games like that flip the table game that you'll see sometimes, and
Mhm.
also oh, what is the big drum one?
The taiko drum game.
Taigo no
Yeah.
Tetsujin.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they had at least one Taigo no Tetsujin machine. So it's like, yeah, if you want weird Japanese type stuff, the the people you want to follow is like con organizers.
Yep.
They,
Absolutely.
they have the access.
Absolutely. Not to mention, like you said, in California, where in Japan is right there.
Genuinely though, if I won the lottery tomorrow, I would likely be like, you want to know what I'm gonna do? I'm setting up a goddamn arcade cafe. Because just why not?
Good luck with that.
I said if I won the lottery, that's the only way it would happen because I'd have to import like all the games.
I'm saying good luck with that. I'll write something snazzy, and that'll be about my contribution.
Yeah, I know. I know it's on me.
Arcades, man, I miss them.
Arcades, like, again, that's where light guns start, right? That's where a lot of this shit starts. We've got the fucking drums from Taiko no Tatsujin. We've got the weird, like, I don't know what the fuck it is, but the Japanese circle thing where you tap the buttons in a circle because it's better movement and better, like, exercise.
Oh, that rhythm game style.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it's called either, but I know what you're talking about.
It's fancy and it's hard as fuck.
They also had set up a
Yes.
couple of like Guitar Hero arcade machines there too.
Guitar Hero?
Trying to think which other peripherals are
Yeah.
straight up just like rips from arcades. It's like you've got the light guns, which were probably arcade first. You've got DDR machines; those were arcade first.
VR headsets.
You've got
Or headsets are literally ripped from arcades.
Shani, stop trying to do the ASMR thing
Yes.
where you get real close to the mic.
Nah, it's fun.
I was
Because
like, why are
fans
you
will
in my
wild,
ears?
Trance is great.
I'm trying to think of the more specific and niche ones, like the table flip one, which doesn't have a home version, and Taiko no Tatsujin, which
Taiko no
does have a
Tatsujin
home version.
has a home bongo thing. You
I
can
have
get for PS3.
heard rumor.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of ones that's like what clearly arcade peripheral that is very specific has a home version. It's like Taiko no Netsuzo is the
steering wheel?
is the weirdest one I can think of right now.
Steering wheels. Been around forever.
That's not weird. But good point. I forgot I was
sticks.
gonna get to that. I'm
The
like,
shitty...
in order to have an arcade to make money, you
Holy
must
shit.
include
Speaking
a racing
of the
game.
mother of all video game peripherals, flight sticks. Like, I'm not talking like...
Oh yeah.
I'm not talking like basic, like, you just have like a stick, like a fucking arcade stick. No. The fucking mother load that some people fucking get. The goddamn Microsoft Flight Simulator. This is actually gonna kill you. Giant ass dashboard. Like,
We're secretly just training you to actually fly a plane. You just don't know it yet.
No. Nobody's secretly training anybody. People have to buy that themselves. Well, Microsoft sent it out at the time, but like, I don't understand
These
why people are so
seeking
obsessed
out.
with planes.
In fact, I think half of the people who do seek them out do fly planes.
Yeah, I just don't understand why people are so fucking obsessed with them. Like, I've never seen anything like it. Like,
Pilots are fucking weird, man.
the steering wheels are like, that's usually where at the end of it, right? We have steering wheel and a clutch. That's usually the end of like your car bullshit, or you just buy the arcade machine. Nobody goes out and buys like, here's like pieces of a car.
Actually, okay, so my dad loves racing games. He fucking adores them. And I hate driving. I hate it. I get motion sick. I am not a good driver. So at one point in time, out of desperation to try and teach me to drive, he got a, like, basically it was a car setup. So you had, like, a steering wheel.
Oh yeah, but those are real parts.
No, he got them from, they were some old thing for, like, the Xbox, the old Xbox, like the 360. Anyway, it had a steering wheel, it had a brake, it had two pedal, it had like 3 pedals? Okay, it had like 3 pedals, the steering wheel, a whole bunch of things, and he's like, we're gonna teach you to drive using the power of video games.
What is this, like the Rock Band drums of car games?
Yeah, pretty much. It was
hilarious.
It cost him, he was able to, because at that point the new Xbox was coming out, people were switching to that, so he was able to get it pretty cheap. From someone who was also a racing game enjoyer and who was like, well, I'm just gonna get the new one for the new games and the Forzas and stuff, so you can have my old ones for like real cheap. So he brought it home and he's like, we're gonna teach you to drive with video games and this, and I was like, this is a horrible idea. I got motion sick from playing car games.
Sick.
So I don't like car games. I don't like real cars. It just didn't end well. But it impressed me that someone went to the trouble. So someone at Microsoft went through the hell of developing like basically a real car setup with the pedals and the steering wheel and a clutch and all this shit for fucking Forza.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Well, it was like I was telling you earlier. I forgot. Now I remember the name, but now I forgot about it earlier. Steel Battalion. That's the game that was made on Kinect. It's like, hey, this game is known for having a really complicated controller, but that's kind of the fun of it because it's like you're piloting a mech
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
The Kinect is just like, well, let's just throw that out the window and you're the controller now.
I mean, sure.
Like, look up Steel Battalion's controller and you'll see it's really fucking weird.
You see this.
It's so fucking funny. It's like, yeah,
I love how
pilot.
the first result is the controller. What the fuck?
Yeah,
Oh god.
Holy shit!
Yeah, no.
yeah.
This
Sorry, this
that's
is
not a controller. That's just
This is
part
a
of a
control
supercomputer or whatever the
system.
fuck.
It's a dashboard for a Mac, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I feel like you're actually in a mech, and then the Kinect is like, let's just throw that out the window. That's a good idea, right?
Move
Oh my
hand.
god, are those pedals?
I
Yeah,
think those are pedals, yeah.
those are pedals.
Okay,
yes.
do all those buttons actually do something, or are they for
Likely,
appearance?
yes.
Because that's a lot of
believe so.
buttons.
I mean, look at it this way. I believe it is a game that can be played on PC. And so
I
the
think so,
idea
yeah.
is you have as many buttons as there is in a fucking keyboard plus shortcuts.
Yeah.
Apparently, this controller was called the Mega Jockey 9000.
Sick. Holy shit. Controller names. The fucking Duke. What a name.
The Duke?
The Duke. Also one of the worst controllers ever conceived by man.
What is the Duke?
Aside from, Nintendo's third leg. But
The
it's
Duke,
like...
if I recall, is the original Xbox
Yep,
controller.
It's a fatty.
Oh, yeah.
That's what they
Big
were called.
shitty brick. Yes, the Duke.
It's a big shitty brick, but it doesn't require 3 hands like the N64 controller, at least.
The original Xbox controller bad does not conduce to N64 controller good. Don't you dare put words in my mouth.
No, I'm saying at least it isn't the N64 controller.
Also, God, on the topic of controllers, can we all just agree?
Bar.
Just wholeheartedly agree. GameCube controller sucks.
I like it.
No, fuck you.
Not getting this one?
No.
Can we
Now,
all
Shiny,
call
you are
out Shiny for
actually-
using a Wii U controller for fucking everything?
Now,
That's fair.
Shiny.
Also no, because those are decent.
But no, Shiny, do you not remember how the new Smash 4 released with the fucking
I know.
GameCube controller
I
adapter
know.
showing that people liked it?
And I think that controller sucks. It's too small for my big hands.
That's fair. I'm
My
just saying
big
it's
man
a finely
hands.
designed controller. It's just, it's too small.
It's also got just weird positioning of stuff, and I don't like the way the buttons are.
See,
Why are the buttons all kinds of different sizes? That's so stupid.
I have the opposite problem of you, where I have really small hands. So the thing that pisses me off is when I grab a goddamn controller and it's too damn big and the buttons are too far apart. It enrages me and it will start to hurt my hand. And I'm like, please give me the tiny controllers. Give me dainty, shitty little controllers for my little dainty hands.
What's funny is that you could probably find a tiny controller from an off-brand company.
Yes, you can.
Yes, absolutely, 100. I mean,
Like,
off-brand
that's-
companies. Yeah, let's talk about Mad Cats. Let's talk about all the random licensed Nintendo bullshit over the
Didn't
goddamn
Nintendo
years.
recently start suing people for making Joy-Cons?
No.
Or try and
I
get
believe
people
they
to
started
stop
paying
making
people
Joy-Cons?
to make them.
Skins? Was it for skins? For the
I think skins, yeah.
Yeah, there was something.
That's different.
skins they definitely got on top
That's
of people
different.
immediately.
Yeah, if you aren't
Also,
if you aren't
PlayStation.
licensed, if you aren't licensed by Nintendo and you slap a Nintendo thing onto whatever skin you're using or something, then you're
Yep.
cease and desist or sued, depending on the severity.
You can't call it anything Switch related
Pretty much.
or Joy-Con. That's also trademarked.
PlayStation did the same thing. PlayStation did a Nintendo where they also decided they were gonna do skins and shit for the PlayStation 5, and they just sort of slapped cease and desists towards any company doing the same shit. It's market's mine now. Go away.
Yeah,
So
they tried doing that.
Since we're talking about it real quick, can we please talk about how sad it is that Joy-Cons have drift problems?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, can we talk about the fact that
Oh.
the Switch is 100% one of those just off the production line, we kind of slapped it together and we kind of released it maybe a little bit too soon consoles.
Yeah.
I
I
love
wanted
it.
to also say something really wasteful that occurred recently. My brother was having drift problems with his Switch Pro controller, so he contacted Nintendo about it, and it's out of warranty, so he had to pay to get it sent in and fixed. And once he received it got accepted and then sent back fixed suspiciously fast. And then once he opened it, there was like a plastic protector on the front RFID sensor thing. And he was like, "Yeah, I think they just sent me a new one."
Oof.
Yep.
That seems to be regular practice with Nintendo. They're not fixing these things, they're just giving you a new one.
I mean,
Which is kind of great for the consumer, but I'm also like, oh,
I'd look at
why
it
is
this
this
way,
the
right?
practice?
It's like you don't fix it, fine, but what they do instead is they strip it for parts, and then that's not a bad business
Alright,
practice.
that's fine.
That's,
But
that's
that's
good.
also just the fact that you have to circle these things out like that is not great for the business either.
No, it's not like the fact. I mean, Nintendo's been on top of it lately, right? Like since the DS, but the fact that they've had to be like, hey, if there's a problem, like, we'll fix your product. It's like,
Yeah.
Granted, they do fix your product. They don't just sell you a fucking wind turbine with some goddamn bullshit in it for $700. Fuck me, why are they so expensive?
Because Nintendo.
No, not Nintendo. Nintendo's not $700. That thing is $400. That thing is not expensive.
Oh, are you talking about?
You're gonna have to clarify what is the wind turbine.
The wind turbine is the PS5.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are you talking about PlayStation? Are we back on PlayStation with their
We're sipping in
thing?
that. I don't fucking know what it. I don't care what it is.
It does look weird. It does look a little, I suppose, wind turbine-y if that is the term.
They've opened it up. It has a giant fucking fan and then a couple parts.
I remember that.
No, yeah. I mean, again, Nintendo's just always been weird about things. Always been on top of and not on top of things. And I mean, they are the peripheral kings. They've made so much bullshit. I mean, look at Labo, right? Which is genius. Sell some kids some
I
cardboard.
was gonna mention Labo.
Fuck yeah, like that is ingenious.
Actually paying for cardboard though.
Yeah.
It's good cardboard, I've heard.
I know, but it's just like, yeah, no, like, how could you, like, how are you going to sell cardboard? But they fucking figured out how to anyway.
Yeah, they did. That's so good.
I never got into Labo, but it was something that I wanted to buy at some point just so I can experience it.
Crazy. But I respect.
The problem, yeah.
Honestly, mainly for the piano thing, because like that seemed like a really cool thing to mess around with. I've seen people make like actual covers with that shit. Someone made the Final Fantasy 13 battle theme with it. I'm just like, holy shit.
I don't even know what that means. What game is that? Anyway.
I do think it's really smart of Nintendo for at least the Switch. They've been doing a lot of things that incorporate the Joy-Cons. Like that weird exercise game that got really popular and a bunch of streamers and YouTubers were playing it for a while.
Yeah, the Wii Ring Fit.
Yeah, they give you the ring.
Oh, Ring Fit Adventure?
But you you slide your Joy-Cons
Pilates
into it.
ring is a peripheral.
Oh yeah.
But the Joy-Con is attached.
Yeah, that's the thing, is the Joy-Con attaches to the ring for it to work, and I'm like, that's really smart to like use the Joy-Con in that way, especially because they made it such a big part of the marketing with like the click sound of it being in like all of that. It has that idea. So when it comes to marketing, that's brilliant. And also it's just like a cute little thing, but it is definitely not needed. They could have just sold people a weird ring roller thingy.
Yeah, no, it's a whole ass Pilates ring, like a decent quality piece of exercise equipment.
I mean, again, it's just smart business. Like, the same thing goes with like the new Mario Kart bullshit, where you have like, it's just a it's just a radio car, right? But it has Mario sitting in it, and it's like, wow, I did this shit with Hot Wheels, but now it has Mario. Damn. And that's kind of like, I mean, it's a menace to goddamn families all over the world. Like, I fear for the parents who have to deal with their children fucking running Mario into their goddamn feet. Like stepping on a Lego, but way worse. And that's just cool, and I think that's a mobile game?
Okay, but you do know that now we can actually talk about, because you brought up Lego and Mario, the collaboration. That is, I'm sorry, Nintendo, I'm gonna have to call you out here. Y'all doing some shady shit with the Lego Mario crossover thing, because little Mario Lego figure is connected to the internet. He needs to be charged and regularly attached to your Wi-Fi and can receive updates from the internet that changes like the things that he says. And they recently kind of got under well, it was recent as in several months ago.
That was 2 years ago.
It was not, was it 2 years?
It was at least a year and a half.
Listen, time is meaningless. Regardless, they were under fire for a bit because people updated their little Mario Lego figures, and he started asking for like his brother Luigi and doing all this other stuff. And people were like, basically, the toy is now selling the Luigi figure, which is going to eventually be coming out. And that to me was a bit like, I'm not particularly okay with that, because kids are, no offense, really gullible and really susceptible to ads, and will very easily be like, Mommy, my Lego Mario figure's calling out for his brother and saying he misses him, so now we have to go buy that. And it's like, that's not it, Nintendo. That's just not
love,
it.
you've made the most excellent segue of all time for Court to go absolutely off.
I have.
Speaking of Legos, we have that weird Lego Dimensions game, which borrowed its idea from another game, which borrowed its idea from another game. We don't need to talk about Disney Infinity because that fucking studio is dead. But it was neat. It was fine. It was Disney throwing around money and not knowing what to do with it. However, before all that shit, Activision, of course, because they are the gods of money in America, at least within the game industry, came up with the brilliant idea of, we own all these random franchises. Let's slap Spyro and some weird shit with some weird, whack characters that, granted, have really good designs. I'll give them that. They're really, really well designed. They've got some, like, really, really neat stuff. I mean, right now my brain is only seeing the weird fucking loot goblin that shoots coins. And I'm like, that's genius character design. Fuck me. Skylanders, like, was just such a weird thing. And it predates Amiibos even, right? Like, it's what Amiibos, like, would eventually take that idea, but not really.
Yeah.
And
It is...
It's the first game that has, like, real-life DLC.
Basically. It is the game that kickstarted the Toys for Life brand into an extreme fad that lasted for a good 6-ish years. Basically on par with Guitar Hero, with how crazy it was and how everywhere it was as well. I grew up with the series. I played the first game when I was 11. Funny story about that. You know how in school where sometimes they would make you go out and like get you to sell things in like a catalog towards people, and then they would like give you a prize based on that?
Yeah.
All right. I was one of 2 people who managed to hit the first place prize for selling as many things as possible. The original prize was to go on a limousine ride to like IHOP.
What?
Okay,
yeah.
random.
It was, yeah, that's what happened with that. But because there was only 2 of us, they said, because only you 2 went in, do y'all want $100 instead? And me being a kid who's like, oh, money? Yes. Money? Yes. And that's what I got, and then I bought Skylanders.
Experience, bro. It was worth way more than $100.
Yeah.
Well, fundraisers are really weird in that fundraisers. They had these weird tiers that were just like, kids will love a limo, but then the limo doesn't go anywhere interesting. It just goes to like, what's a chain restaurant kids like? What's like a really shitty, cheap thing that kids like? IHOP? I guess so. McDonald's? Maybe.
Arriving to the Denny's in a limousine feeling like $1 million.
You joke, but one of them probably did use Denny's.
My mom did have a friend who actually did come over with a limousine and say, y'all want to get ice cream? It's like, yeah. So I got the pimp out on a ride with ice cream.
Nice.
But yeah, anyway, back on track. Before I even bought Skylanders, I was like, I don't think I would get into the series, but I fell right into their trap anyway. And, you know, picked up the series. Skylanders...
You're an artist. It has good character designs. Like, it was over.
I mean, this was before
it has Spyro, for God's sake.
I mean, yes, but I was also like, this is the most horrible design of Spyro I've ever seen, and I hate this. And I still stand by that. If anyone out there likes the Skylanders Spyro design, more power to you. I just don't like him. He looks like a little gremlin creature, and that's an
perfect.
aesthetic choice that I think some people can get behind, but not me.
Little
Imagine,
goblin Spyro Man.
imagine if instead of Sora won the Smash ballot, it was Spyro, but like Monkey's Paw, it's specifically the Skylander Spyro that made it.
Also, Cord, you're gonna have to correct me because I played through the whole fucking first game, and like my little brother got like a bunch of the games after, and I didn't play too much of those. But you could like unlock characters in the game, right? You didn't actually have to get the figures, if I remember correctly.
No, that is not true in the slightest.
Okay, I didn't remember.
So it was literally Amiibos before Amiibos Amiiboed.
Yeah, but the thing is, Amiibos were like kind of pointless in the sense
Yeah, they
that
don't
the
do
video
anything.
game characters were already there.
Yeah. So if you wanted a character, you had to go out and buy it yourself. But basically, let me give you a rundown of the series, just so we can, say what it is. It's
Yeah.
basically a beat 'em up game. That's what it boils down
Yep.
to. It's a very simplistic beat 'em up game that kids can get into, and if you like your characters, cool. You have a Skylander figure, you have a cool toy to play with, and yeah, it rocked hard because it basically raked in millions of dollars and expanded the series for over 6 mainline games and a bunch of spin-off shit. Uh, Although the games were pretty simple in what they did, it was pretty much all for the characters and like being in that world as well. And the concept is still pretty cool for what it was, especially back in 2011. I think it was 2011 or 2012.
Yeah.
When Spyro's Adventure came out. Fun fact, it wasn't about Spyro's Adventure.
Yeah.
No.
He wasn't even front and center. He was replaced with an elf girl.
He was your default bitch you get with the game, alongside like
You don't even get the stealth girl as a default starter character. You get 3 other characters.
yeah, you do
was
the elf
Spyro.
girl. Yeah, you do.
Well, you get Spyro, but like you don't
you
get
get
the
you get
stealth
the elf girl. You get Spyro. You get the loot goblin.
No, you don't. No, you don't get the stealth elf in the starter pack. You get like a fish dude and some weird like
Oh yeah, Go Grunt.
crazy
This
character.
might be regional
Trigger
differences
happy.
because I swear to God, like I have that character. So yeah, no, I'm pretty sure you do.
Maybe, but I didn't get.
I
bought
also
her
had the Shark
separately.
Man, but I think I had to buy him. It's cool.
But yeah, it was a simple series. First game was pretty simple to set up. It was the whole gimmick was the characters, so that's basically what that was. And I basically bought almost the entire first series Skylanders.
Okay.
I almost got them all, but it didn't. And you can beat the game with just the starter pack if you want to, but that's no fun. You get the other characters for the other characters and have more shit to play with. You also unlock more bonus content if you have the correct elemental Skylander types,
Yep.
which gives you access to additional items that increase your stats, and also unlock
More parts of the
character-specific
level.
abilities to characters that you may or may not have yet. So
Okay.
that incentivizes you even more to buy the figures.
Okay, looking it up, you're both right. On the 3DS version of Skylanders Spyro's Adventure, you get the elf girl, but on the console release, it was Gil Grunt, Spyro, and the little goblin guy.
Was it on the Wii version?
The Wii version, that's the one, that's the console one. It's the Gil Grunt, Spyro, and the little blaster guy. And on the
Trigger
DS
happy.
one, the DS one came packed in with the goblin girl.
100%
as
didn't
opposed to
own the
Gil Grunt.
DS version. I'm not entirely sure. I don't think of whatever. It's fine.
So I love how this specific episode of the podcast has caused us to have to do, like, we've had to pause and be like, 1 second, I gotta look this up real quick.
I haven't had to
Google.
look anything up, but yeah.
I'm sorry, I wanted to know about the weird mech controller that was called the
The Steel
something
Battalion.
9000.
That's fine.
It was definitely worth it. The Steel Battalion controller's so funny.
Yeah, it's fucking wild to look at. But
The,
yeah,
the thing that I think the thing that would have made, personally for me, what I think would have made the Toys to Life things last longer if they were actually toys and not statues, because the only ones
Yeah.
that were actually toys were the Lego ones, and that's
Yep.
because they were detachable.
there is that. But there was also the Superchargers vehicle toys for Skylanders.
Yeah,
Those-
those ones you could actually play with. But I mean like Amiibos and like the Skylanders or the Disney Infinity ones, like those were basically just kind of immovable statues. Like they had very little articulation, compared to like the Lego figures, which were literally legitimate Lego figures, and all you really needed to play the character was the stand, but everything else was kind of attached.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree with you on that because it's
Yeah.
just like they're just figures at the end of the day. It would have been nice to just move them around like actual toys.
Yeah.
But yeah, Skylanders and shit like that, it succeeded hard,
Oh
and
yeah.
that's sequel after sequel. I can give you a quick rundown of each game and like tell you like how much each one improved over time, if that's
Yeah.
all good.
Sure.
All right. So first game, simple shit. The main gimmick was the toys. They thrived. They did well. It lacked content, but second game came along and improved on that stuff. It was basically running off the old engine, which was probably the Wii version, and then all that shit. That introduced the giant figures, and those guys are bigger and they hit hard, but they're easily overwhelmed. Those guys are pretty neat. There were only 8 of them made for each elemental type. I'm looking at my fucking 70 plus figures in the corner. Uh, Giants was nothing special. It was just more of the same. It introduced more stuff like a shop system, being able to have backwards compatible figures, which goes along with the rest of the series,
Yeah, that's really great.
which is fantastic because I didn't have to go out and buy like $70 worth of figures again. But that doesn't come till years later for specific reasons. uh, the third game comes around, and instead of Toys for Bob, who was the originator of the first 2 games, Vicarious Visions came along to develop the third one, Swap Force, which, in my opinion, was probably the coolest one of the bunch because the Swap Force figures were, uh, specifically the Swap Force Skylander figures for that game specifically, because gimmick Skylanders. Uh, you can take them apart. You can switch around their top and bottom
Yeah, the ones
parts.
that are dual elemental. You literally like make it. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it was literally the coolest one of them all, and I still love them. They're my favorite figure ever because you can come up with so many combinations and change your strategies around that. And it
Yeah.
was just really cool. And the production value on Swap Force was insane because it looked so good. It looked like an animated cartoon at that point,
I
which was
mean,
impressive for the time
again,
because I'm pretty
Skylanders
sure
the
it was like
entire time had
2013.
like full voice acting, which is kind of what got kids, right? Like
Oh
it's
yeah,
a
all of
fully
them did.
realized fucking game. A lot of money was poured into it. Like Activision knew what they had somehow, way ahead of time.
Yeah, it was crazy. And what's also obvious is that the company, both Toys for Bob and Vicarious Vision, had a lot of passion going into it as well, which also helped a lot because you can tell that they love what they're doing and they're putting their heart and soul into these games, even though they're basically annual releases. And corporations have to make money somehow. Uh, of course, if you want to know how else they try to make money, it was at this point with Swap Force. You needed the Swap Force figures specifically if you wanted to access specific bonus areas besides the elemental gates, and so that incentivized buying more toys. I never bought a lot of them, but I did buy my favorite ones. Obviously, an owl do because I can't help myself. His name was Hoot Loop.
Of
Lovely.
course.
I see a bird, I buy the bird.
Exactly. I mean, he was the coolest one. He was like a magician dude that fucking teleported around and did shit. It was really fun. And then combine his pieces with other guys. Oh man, that was uh besides, all that stuff, I do think those figures were probably the best one out of the entire collection of Skylanders as a whole. Because from that point on, they newer Skylanders kind of devolved a bit. There was Trap Team, which is arguably a fan favorite among the community because it does a lot that the other games don't. Uh, I forgot to mention that the third game does add even more stuff to do on the side, like side content, like battle arenas and a new card game system. Because they introduced it in Giants that had like a weird tic tac toe thing. Third game basically made it Hearthstone for Skylanders. It worked. It was fun. Uh, Trap Team basically did the same thing, but better and added even more content, which is insane. They added a tower defense mode in Trap Team. It was weird, but it was really cool, and they don't do it for any of the other series, for the other games. Uh, the new there's 2 new figures around this time for Trap Team. There was the Trap Force. I don't think that's what they were called, or they might be called Trap Masters. But basically, they're nothing special. Honestly, they're just figures that do more damage to bosses if you have those figures. And they decided to hit the reset switch at this point to where you can no longer use your old Skylanders to access the bonus areas for elemental gates and shit like that. You need the new type of Skylanders to do it. So if you don't have a Trap Master of that elemental type, you can't access the bonus areas, which gotta make more money somehow, and that's
Yep.
what they ended up doing. And then there were the trap crystals, because you eventually fight bosses that you can trap and collect them like Pokemon.
Oh, and you need like another thing to put on the gate. I see.
Yeah.
And so there's an
So-
infinite combination of things you'd need to. Ah, that's smart.
Mm-hmm. With the trap crystals, you only needed one of each type if you wanted to collect all the boss enemies. That you can also play as, by the way, for a short limited amount of time. And because of that, they go on a recharge that recharges very quickly, by the way. And you can basically abuse the system and just have fun with that. You can collect more crystals so you can actually have swappable ones so you aren't attaching one at a time to each crystal, because you can't just have all of them on one figure. You have to separate them out, which is how they also made more money. They also gave you like a little stand for that game that gave you basically slots for each and every character that you can assign to each crystal. So you have like a little collection to display, which I thought was cute. But also, I never bought a lot of those crystals, so I never got to play around with a lot of the bosses that they gave you. Trap Team, really good. Production value is great. I think Toys for Bob developed that one. And then we went to Superchargers, which is also arguably one of the best ones in the series, rivaling Trap Team. You either love Trap Team or you love Superchargers, because they're both fantastic games. And Superchargers, oh my god, I'm gonna tell you, the production value is incredible. The game looks crazy good. The lighting in that game is so delicious. I swear. There's just so much stuff going on. The cinematics got crazy good. And just overall gameplay felt really fucking tight in that game, even though it was basically the same shit over and over again. They're beat 'em up games. They're doing the same thing over and over, but it was still fun. That introduced instead of introducing a new type of Skylander, they decided to just say, here's all these new Skylanders that you just play around with. You don't need a specific type to play with. And they were the Supercharger Skylanders, which up to this point, I forgot to mention that within every iteration of the series, each game, I am stumbling over my words because I'm excited about this. There's so much to talk about. Usually, when they introduce a new game, they also introduce new Skylanders, and sometimes instead of just making new ones, they decide to bring back old ones and call them Series 2 or Series 3 Skylanders. And basically,
I do
they would
remember that,
just
different
be
poses.
yeah, different poses, different slight design tweaks. They would also make them more powerful at the same time to compensate. And you can also make them back with older games too. If you had a Series 3 Spyro, you can put it in the first game if you wanted to, which was really nice, and that was really cool of them. They also have access to exclusive abilities to their series type. So, yeah, mix and match, have fun with that. With Supercharger specifically, instead of making a Series 4 version, they just said, let's just completely redesign these characters ground up for a new look, new abilities, and just make them completely unique at that point. And I think that was a really cool thing to do, because it freshened up the old Skylanders and also introduced a bunch of new ones at the same time. So it gave them new abilities and all that stuff in between. I don't think you can play with those versions specifically on older games, because they are technically new characters, but I the only way for me to double check that is to pull out my Wii U and double check that shit. I don't have my Wii U
So
out in the open anymore.
Nintendo, eat your heart out. We know how to do toys.
Oh yeah, speaking of Nintendo, they released a Skylander Amiibo hybrid of fucking Donkey Kong and Bowser for superchargers that only work on the Nintendo versions.
You know, I'm not even surprised. They probably wanted a slice of that cake real bad because
Makes sense.
like Shani said, Nintendo they know they do a lot of peripherals. So
Yeah.
seeing like this other company do, seemingly very well, because you have yet to tell me that there was some kind of highway robbery attempt of goddamn Spyro things. So I'm just gonna assume that they actually produced enough to meet demand.
Yeah. But there's also this is also during the time when the Wii U was around and struggling hard, which is probably why they wanted to dip in on Skylanders, because hey, super successful series, let's put our own characters in there to get a slice of the pie and boost up those sales for the Wii U. Oh shit, fucking tactical monopolizing move right there. I don't think it did well. Because I think we know where it was heading. Yeah, so the supercharger characters, Bowser and Donkey Kong, those only work on Nintendo consoles specifically. If you try to use it on any other one, you can't. Because, hey, how dare you try to play with supercharger Donkey Kong on a fucking PlayStation 4?
Yeah, we
You
all
cheating.
we all know the tale of how Soul Calibur 2 was re-released with Heihachi and Spawn on the same game, but Nintendo was like, no Link though, fuck you.
Yep.
Yep.
They couldn't even do the decent thing and re-release Soul Calibur 2 on Switch, so then Link could be there, but no, fuck you.
No.
Nah. Damn. Okay. What am I missing here for superchargers? Oh, obviously the vehicles. Those were the big things for that game. And people felt a bit divisive on that one. You either liked the didn't. I think it added on to it because it just freshened up the gameplay for what it was.
Yeah.
It gave you something different to do, and you're riding around in a car or a submarine or an airplane. It gave you either like combat arenas or you're doing light racing. The racing does not hold up a candle to Mario Kart, obviously, but it was interesting. It was a fun thing that they decided to do, and it was just a fun little side activity to add on to the ever-growing fucking amount of content that game had.
It was a prelude to your sleep paralysis demon Crash Team Racing.
Yeah. God, if we talk about racing games,
We're not. No, absolutely not.
I'm sorry, I would kill you before we do a racing games one because I do not give a shit. I'm sorry.
We'll talk about Forza and how beautiful fucking real life isn't.
Okay, but yeah,
CTR is a great
that's
game.
something that
Fight
anyone
me
with
on
eyes
that.
can
Racing is a sometimes topic. If you try to make a whole podcast out of
I will
it,
not do
I
that.
won't be there.
I will not do
I'll
that.
have to
neither
sit
would
out.
I. Me and you would be doing our own thing because, again,
my whole
motion
thing-
sickness.
My whole thing is like fucking discretion for our goddamn viewers. Like I and everybody else here like come up with the topics generally. It goes through an approval process where we all kind of agree on it. And this one is fucking my random goddamn suggestion. And I thought it would be very interesting to talk about. And we have other ones. So like when we do these,
Considering
we
how
try to
long
make
we've
like
been-
wide topics. And I'd say this is a pretty wide
Yeah,
topic.
considering how long we've been talking.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think it's been good. I definitely say like I am getting physically exhausted.
All right,
Well,
I can
Yeah.
wrap up the.
I
can wrap up
think
the
it's good to
Skylanders
end on
talk.
Skylanders. I think that's awesome. I think that's probably the ultimate peripheral, considering how many millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars that shit made.
It was Amiibo
again, they've never
before
been
Amiibo,
robbed.
and it Amiiboed better than Amiibo, if we're
Yeah,
being
definitely.
completely honest.
And did not get Amiibo robbed.
Oh yeah.
For the record, I do find that funny. I feel bad for anyone who had to drive any of the Amiibo trucks that got robbed, because
fuck Nintendo.
that must have been terrifying and horrific, and I genuinely feel sorry for you. But at the same time, there was something so hilarious about waking up one morning, checking my news feed online, and seeing crazy fucking feral Nintendo people attack and rob a goddamn Amiibo truck transport. Like, okay, all right. No.
Oh man, it's still wild how any of that shit happened. How crazy obsessed people were with that.
Oh, yes. Oh, I didn't get to bring up my rule. Anything anime shaped that is an amiibo, just like tack on an extra $10 to the price.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do they?
Anime shaped
Pretty
how?
much.
Like we're talking
All
about
the
Cloud
ones that got
Strife
scalped the
amiibo?
hardest were things like
Yeah.
Marth, anybody Fire Emblem. Shulk not as much because nobody played Xenoblade, but he was slightly more expensive than
I
everybody
mean,
else. I'm
speaking
also
of
gonna throw
amiibos, right? That's the reason.
Rosalina over there because Rosalina is sort of like borderline of the princess designs in Mario. Like she's a little more human, tall, like anime-ish, as opposed to Peach and Daisy, who are a bit more, a bit more cartoony.
Mhm.
She was expensive.
Yep.
Mhm.
Peach was the one that was never around, but no, like again, Nintendo artificial
No, but she
scarcity.
did stay consistently priced.
It's like
Unless it was the wedding version.
Xenoblade is a game that, again, about 100,000 copies exist. It's fucking it. It's literally fucking it. Because Nintendo didn't believe the game would ever make money.
No, that's why they gave it exclusive GameStop rights.
Uh-huh.
One of those copies just sort of stayed at the GameStop near the university I went to, and it might even still be
Go
there.
purchase it.
Get it for
It
yourself.
is worth hundreds of
I don't know if
thousands
it
of
is.
dollars. Go
Colin
purchase
should
it.
probably purchase it. He kept looking at it, and it kept like it would never drop in price. In fact, it would increase in price.
Yeah, that
He was
makes
just like,
sense.
I can't. Yeah.
It's always going to increase in price, though. I mean, actually, I don't know how much a mint Xenoblade is nowadays, considering Definitive is literally just the
Well, it's
better
not mint.
version.
It was used. The used copy would go up in price.
That makes
Yeah.
sense, too.
Literally anything that was Nintendo would never drop in price, even a used copy.
Oh, yeah. And I'd say, like, with that Amiibo tangent, because we have to, like, again, Amiibo is just you gotta just snake in and out of Amiibo because it's such a big fucking thing, because it's Nintendo finally doing
the
legally
Survivor.
approved statuettes.
hmm
Oh my god, yes.
And it's
Dear
like,
God.
what a genius move. God, how horrible it went.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, with that, I'd say we are about wrapped up here.
Hold on, I'm not finished. If you got time for one more Skylanders game.
One more thing.
Well, damn.
Go, Cord, go.
I'm sorry, I have to talk about this because it pains my heart thinking about Imaginators, which is the 6th and final entry in the mainline series of
Wait, there's
Skylanders.
more?
Since Toys for Life was fading away, it was a fad, everything sucks, the economy is no longer stable. Not a lot of work went into this besides giving you your own custom Skylander. That shit was cool, but also it probably was the reason why it made that entry the weakest one in the series. It felt like that game went back to being the basics of Giants and the first game. Giants being the second one, if anyone wasn't keeping up with that, because no one is numbering these guys properly.
I'm definitely keeping up, don't worry.
More for the viewers.
Fair enough. They don't exist. I'm the viewers.
Yes, you are my viewer, you are my audience, you are at my whim of Skylanders
Apparently.
talk conversation. So basically, instead of adding on more content, they took a lot out. Or instead of taking it out, they made it smaller scale. And it was bad, in my opinion anyway. The game had the strongest amount of combat in it, because most of the new Skylanders were very combat focused. So they had more stuff to them. Crash Bandicoot was in there. That was cool. It gave it a new level to that. There was less levels overall, but they try to make it up with quality. The arena battles were severely gimped so hard, to the point that you just go to one level and do it instead of additional shit. They got rid of the tower defense thing. They brought back all the racing stuff, but you can only use it if you have a racing vehicle, which I eventually lost my racing vehicle, so I never got to do any of that. In terms of custom shit, oh yeah, they reverted Skystones from being the Hearthstone thing that it thrived on for the last 5 games, and went back to the stupid tic-tac-toe thing, to a secluded area that is very small in scale. So it's like, what happened? And they got rid of one of the main collectibles, which was hats. And the hats gave you stat boosts for your Skylanders.
I remember that.
They were all still modeled, though. So if you had a Skylander who had a hat on previously from another game, it would appear. It just had no effect. So it was weird why they took any of that shit out. Most of the collectibles are gone. Most of the cool shit that used to be there is gone or gimped. And there's just less content overall. All to make room for the new Skylander Imaginator figures. And I forgot to mention, in Superchargers, they had a fucking loot box system that you could buy shit with real money if you wanted to, but you can easily just grind it out and collect. And same thing for Imaginators, where you're collecting custom Imaginator parts to customize your Skylander, which basically gave you better gear, better stats, everything in between. You can give your Skylanders voices and everything. I'm pretty sure one of them was like Laura Bailey or something. I don't know. Maybe Yosuke was in there. I don't remember. Matt Murray knows. Who knows at this point?
Yuri Lowenthal. Very talented voice actor, and the fact that you only remember him by one of his worst roles is sad.
No, I know it's Yuri Lowenthal, but I just think it's funny to anytime that I hear Yuri in anything, I just go, "Hi, Yosuke." That's all I can think about.
I know, we've talked about this before. I know.
Yeah, but they don't know that. They don't know our.
They don't know. But they'll learn.
I was gonna say they're gonna learn. We're not stopping here.
Can't wait to meet Yosuke and Bayonetta. Yeah, so custom Skylanders, those were fun, but also, god damn it, kind of sucks that was the only real cool thing about that. On a final note, though, best part about those custom Skylanders, usually when you want to make a custom Imaginator Skylander type, you have to go buy these generic crystal things that act as your Skylander figure. And Toys for Bob decided to do something really cool with that idea and decided to say, hey, if you want to make your own custom Skylander in a 3D printed form, you just pay us and we can just do it. It will keep all of the moves. It will look exactly how you customize it, and it will come like that. I entered a GameStop raffle so I can like get a free voucher to get a custom Skylander.
Oh.
And I won. And I think it's because I was probably the only person in town who signed up for that.
Nice.
Amazing.
So
winning
I got
by default, the best way.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to take a picture of my custom Skylanders so I could show it to you guys and you can put it in the episode. But yeah, it was supposed to come in between 4 to 6 weeks. I had to wait double that time and constantly contact customer support. But I got it. It's really fucking cool. It's in this giant glass dome because it's made out of like sandstone and probably super fragile or some shit.
Why is it made out of
sandstone?
I don't know. I don't know. It's some weird material. It doesn't look the best, but it's still cool that I have one anyway. And it works. It fully functions as exactly how I had my original figure in the generic Crystal one. Only difference is that it was reset to level 1, which, to be fair, you know, why not? It would make you redo all that shit so you can buff up your Skylander and get it back up to par. But at least you have all the cool kick-ass gear right from the start that you attach it to. So you have all those stat buffs, which is really nice. And that was... I don't know how long that service was alive for, but probably not long enough. Because I have no idea how many people actually did that. Because it was I think it was like $60 to fucking to get it 3D printed, and not including shipping probably. But yeah, that's Skylanders. They made money, and then they didn't, and then Disney Infinity and Amiibo and Lego Dimensions came out and did all that stuff on their own. Lego Dimensions was probably the second runner-up for best idea in terms of Toys for Life because it's Lego.
It's okay. It's okay, Cord. It's gonna come back when they ran out of all the money they could possibly make out of Assassin's Creed. They'll make Skylanders, but it's Assassin's Creed, and like, oh hey, here's Ezio.
For a second, I thought you were gonna say they're gonna put Spyro in Assassin's Creed, and I was like, all right, I think it's time to end this episode. We're getting a bit too wild now.
That was also the wrong company.
Is it? I thought it was Ubisoft.
No, Call of Duty people.
Now I could talk about the
Oh,
spin-off
I-
games for Skylanders,
No,
but
we're
then
not.
that
No, I'm cutting you off. I will not sit here for another goddamn 30 minutes. I love you, my boy. This has been an insightful conversation, but
No,
my
I'm
God,
not
I think
even
me
gonna-
was fall asleep.
No, I wouldn't even listen. I don't even know anything about the side shit. I only know about the card game I don't even know what happened to that.
Oh God, no,
but that's
no,
it.
we're not
No
talking
more.
about
No
card
more
games.
talk.
Those technically count as a peripheral. All right, everybody, this has been the second episode of Dude Talk. It's been lovely to have you here. We've talked about the good, the bad, the amiibo, and the ugly.
And the steel
We'll see you
couch
next
controller.
time.
Bye.
Yeah.
This has been Shiny signing off.
Later.
Oh,
Bye.
she lives.
I forgot I was on push to talk a little bit.